consecutive games where Corinthians provided the entire England 11. But the thing is, the players refused to play professional football. They didn't believe in it. They wanted to spread the values of sportsmanship, competition, and played for the love of the game. It also helped that most of the players were Oxbridge graduates who didn't need the money. But instead of entering the league and cup competitions, they played exhibition football and toured the world, bringing the beautiful game with them. And it was this which spread the game throughout the world and made it so popular. Most famously, in 1910, they travelled to Brazil. And the locals in Sao Paulo were so impressed, they started their own team under the same name. Yes, the same Corinthians who won the FIFA Club World Cup in 2021, one of the biggest football teams in Brazil. Now, they were global superstars, and despite not being professional, Corinthians drew in the crowds. Everybody wanted to play them, everybody wanted to watch them. So much so, they regularly played the winners of the FA Cup in what eventually became the Community Shield, winning most of the time. They actually inflicted Manchester United's worst defeat, 11-3, a record which still stands to this day. Now, fast forward to today, Corinthian Casuals still don't pay their staff or players. The ethos of sportsmanship is still at the heart of everything that they do. And even though they're a side in the lower leagues, if you make the trip to King George's Field in Tolworth just off the A3, you'll most likely bump into Brazilian Corinthians fans who often make the pilgrimage across the globe just to watch their founding team play.
Good morning, welcome along to Weekend Sports Breakfast. Good to have your company this Sunday morning. Katie Shanahan in for the wonderful Shaban Ahern. And alongside me is the former Chelsea and Republic of Ireland striker, Tony Cascarino. Good to have you with us. Right, Mohamed Salah has rocked the Premier League, saying promises at Liverpool have been broken. Has Arne Slot created a huge problem?
We're in a certain situation, and I try to pick the team that fits best for the situation we are in. We want to win, but unfortunately we didn't.
We'll be breaking down Salah's comments all morning and the 3-3 draw. What a game that was at Leeds yesterday. Aston Villa defeated Arsenal live on talkSPORT with the last kick of the game.
There's bodies everywhere, there's limbs everywhere, and it's rifled in by Buendia!
So we're asking you this morning, are Aston Villa title contenders? Give us a call, 03717 223344. We'll have all the reaction to yesterday's Premier League and FA Cup action on today's show. And England now know where they'll be playing their group stage matches at the World Cup.
Croatia in Dallas to kick us off, Ghana in Boston, and then Panama in the MetLife in New York.
We'll discuss the World Cup draw and the key games for the home nations on the show this morning for both England and Scotland. And of course, please get in touch with the show. We'd love to hear from you this morning. You can text us 81089 or you can give us a call 03717 22 3344. It's Weekend Sports Breakfast here on talkSPORT. Great to be with you, Cass, this morning. How are you?
I'm really good, Katie, and looking forward to the next 3 hours. And unfortunately, it's going to start with the first half hour of your club and my club.
Your club and my club. Yeah, Arsenal and Liverpool.
What's more important, your club or my club?
Well, I don't know. Well, we can delve into that. We could get the listeners to have their say. I was actually at Portman Road yesterday.
Yes.
What a game that was! It was Ipswich beating Coventry 3-0. You know, to get 3 goals against the league leaders and a clean sheet was really, really impressive.
Absolutely. And look, it's been a fantastic season for Coventry. I think there's a lot of people surprised that Ipswich started so poorly this year, knowing the squad that they've got under Kieran McKenna. And sometimes results happen where Coventry have sort of got away with it, pulled back, and you can say incredible character, some of the late victories they've had, turnarounds in games, done brilliantly well. Frank Lampard would just have to move on. This was going to happen. It's happened, but they've had an amazing start. So just continue. Well,
two of the main games from yesterday included both of our teams, as you mentioned there. That 3-3 a draw with Leeds and Liverpool. Leeds coming back from 2-0 down to then end the game 3-3. We'll get into Liverpool in a moment, but also Aston Villa, that was pretty good as well.
Yeah, there were two great games, and fair play to Villa. Said yesterday morning, this is a really tricky game for Arsenal. I thought Arsenal would get something out of it. But by the end, look, Villa are so well organised under Unai Emery. And do you know what? They haven't got any superstars. I think that's one of the big standout features of Villa. They will. If you take Morgan Rogers and McGinn...
I was going to say Morgan Rogers.
No, but they're great players, but both of them done very selfless jobs yesterday. McGinn doesn't play as a winger but tucks in, but will do a lot of doggy work out to the fullbacks of Arsenal. You know, the left fullback, as he did yesterday. And likewise, Morgan Rogers played slightly out of position, as in more on the left, and did a job of chasing back and helping out the Villa back line, and done it brilliantly. So, and also, Unai Emery, one thing he can do, he can really set up a team, make it difficult. He gets them so tight, the back line. They press the ball when they have to. And, you know, people like Watkins... He'll miss his chances. He'll miscontrol the ball at times, but he'll never stop running for the team. And that's, of course, I feel that Unai Emery's had superstars in, especially at PSG when he was a player, and certainly some at Arsenal. But I think he suits not having them.
Interesting.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The way he wants to play, the Villarreal way that he had in the team. And look, fair play to Villa yesterday. It looked like it was absolutely rocking at Villa Park.
Yeah, it was a brilliant game and one of many good games in the Premier League. Here's how it sounded on talkSPORT.
Wouldn't Unai Emery love to deliver Arsenal a nightmare before Christmas? And it's rifled in by Buendia! Aston Villa lead! I've got to say, you've never seen celebrations like this. Villa have just given the rest of the Premier League an early gift. A proper title race.
Manchester City 3, Sunderland 0, and it's Phil Foden with his 5th goal in 3 games.
Are the Blues really in this title race? This result won't help. It's finished at the Vitality. Bournemouth 0, Chelsea 0.
And it's Spurs 2, Brentford 0, and Xavi Simons with his first goal for Spurs.
Once you get your first goal, you can see what it meant to him. Celebrating with the fans, stood on top of the ball.
Everton 3, Nottingham Forest 0. It's Keenan Dewsbury Hall, who at Leicester, born and bred, and scores against Nottingham Forest.
It's 2-0 to Newcastle. Ian Fleming looking for his 5th Premier League goal of the season, and he puts it into the back of the net. It's a lifeline for Burnley.
It's incredible. It's Leeds 3, Liverpool 3, 5 minutes into stoppage time. Al Tanaka off the bench has slammed in at the far post, and Aaron Rhodes has gone berserk.
Yeah, we had some absolutely blockbuster games in the Premier League. Aston Villa beating Arsenal 2-1. That was the 12:30 kickoff, which you could hear live on talkSPORT. Emi Buendia scored in the last kick of the game in the 95th minute to stun the league leaders and take them within 3 points. It was a goalless draw between Bournemouth and Chelsea. Liam Delap, though, had to come off injured for Chelsea, which looks like he's going to be spending a little bit of time on the sidelines. Once again, another blow for him. Really feel for him. As for Bournemouth, 6 matches now without a win. Chelsea are winless in 3, denting, you'd think, their title challenge after that defeat to Leeds in midweek as well. As for Everton, how good were they yesterday? They beat Nottingham Forest 3-0. Tiano Barry scores his first Everton goal in his 17th game for the club. Really good day for him. And also a 4th win in 5 for David Moyes' side. But it wasn't the dream return to Everton for Sean Dyche, as his Nottingham Forest side lost 3-0 as they sit 2 places above danger. As for Man City, they beat Sunderland 3-0. Man City have now blown the title race wide open after capitalising on Arsenal's defeat and beating Sunderland 3-0 to get those 3 points. They're now only 2 points off the leaders. As for Newcastle, they beat Burnley 2-1. Bruno Guimaraes scored from a corner. It was an absolutely amazing goal. Cass will get into it in a minute, as Burnley went down to 10 men just before half-time when Lucas Perez was sent off. Spurs beat Brentford 2-0. Thomas Frank picked up 3 points against his former club. A much-needed win at home too. Only the second league win at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, so you feel as though that was really needed. And what a game it was last night. 3-3 between Leeds and Liverpool. Leeds showing real character to come back from 2-0 down, ending 3-3. Ellen Road was absolutely bouncing, and we'll get into that in a minute. But Cass, let's start with the news that broke last night. Some really explosive comments from Mohamed Salah after the game. He said he feels as though the club has thrown him under the bus in a bombshell interview after the 3-3 draw at Leeds, and promises have been broken to him, and he feels like he very much sees his immediate future elsewhere. I mean, Cass, what do you make of all of this?
Not surprised that a player has took upon himself to literally vent his anger about being left out. Well, I understand you can be angry about being dropped. I mean, the comment that you said, it's not acceptable to me, to be honest. I don't know why it's always happens to me. I mean, it's never happened to you. That for a start. I don't remember, if you've had all that success as a player at a football club, he's pretty much been a regular for the last, 9 years. So it's not always happening to you. And Mo's not owning up to his form. He's blaming Slot. He's blaming the club. The bottom line is you've been dropped because you've been poor this year. And you think you're immune to criticism. Well, you're not. Because he sets his own standards. And he's been brilliant for Liverpool. Every Liverpool fan loves Mo Salah. And is appreciative of what he's done for the football club. But if you go out of form, I don't care who you are, if you're a big club and you're off form, you're going to either be left out or be driven out of the club. That's happened to many people. It happened to Ronaldo at Manchester United. It happened to Ozil and Aubameyang at Arsenal and others, Alexis Sanchez. You can name a whole host of players. But Mo is literally throwing the throwing the club under the bus for me, not the other way round, because how do you not understand why you've been left out? Your numbers, if you go through Mo's numbers, and I read out yesterday, the last 30 games, 7 goals. And if you go the previous 30 games, 25 goals in 30 games. He set that standard. And I understand he might be unhappy with Slot, the way it's been handled. We don't know that. We're not privy to all that sort of stuff. But what I would say, it's a reaction of a player who, for me, has not come to terms at all with how poorly he's been this year.
Well, Arne Slot said after the game that we have to accept the situation that we're in at the moment, and I base my decisions on that. Mo Salah's now been on the bench for the last 3 games. He goes off to AFCON next week. They've got Inter and Brighton just before that. So do you see Mo Salah staying at Liverpool if this continues?
Well, it's a tough one, because now it's going to be a power struggle, isn't it? Because Arne Slot's under pressure, because Liverpool are faltering. Like yesterday was a typical performance of Liverpool this season, where they've got themselves in a position and they fell apart, made loads of mistakes, and it's ended up being a 3-3 draw. They're conceding goals at an alarming rate. So Arnie's under pressure. Mo Salah's come under pressure from himself. And that's nothing that Arnie will want to deal with. He will look now as Mo Salah's another problem. He's got about 10 issues. I could literally go top of my head, 10 issues he's got to deal with. Mo Salah probably is a priority, which he's already done, left him out. So he'll put that one to the back burner. He won't like it that Mo's come out and said, I mean, I don't get it. I mean, I'd love to know what Liverpool fans think. When a player comes out and says that he's been thrown under the bus and he doesn't understand why. How can you not understand? When I was left out, I knew why I was left out.
And what did you do about it?
Well, I wouldn't like it, but what do you have to do? You have to prove that you're, worthy of a place. You have to prove the manager wrong. You have to go in and train hard. You have to show in training that you're ready to go back into the first team and show again, once you cross that white line, that you're still a player. Mo has just literally thrown every toy out the pram in every way. I don't get it, because we see this. I mean, look, big players have massive egos, and I get that. That's what makes them the players they are. But you have to come to terms with why you've been left out.
I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because Chris Sutton also agrees with you in terms of, he says it's embarrassing for Mo Salah and disrespectful to his teammates and his manager. Salah is no different from any other player. If a player's form drops as Salah's has, he's in the same situation as everyone else and has to accept being benched. But he thinks he's too good to be benched, sadly.
Yeah, well, he's not been too good because what we've seen of Mo Salah this season, if it had been anybody playing to a standard that's below what that we know they're capable of, you get left out in football. That's what happens. You know, again, going back to your club, Ozil, Aubameyang. What happened? You remember the Aubameyang when he signed that new deal and Arteta's presenting him and got him to sign this new contract, and then suddenly all his form disappeared in a heartbeat. What did Arteta have to do? He had to get him out of the club. It become that. And now, are we getting to the stage, and I think we clearly are, that Mo Salah now becomes a problem that you've got to remove.
Yeah. Well, this is what Salah said about his relationship with Arne Slot. I said many times before that I had a good relationship with the manager, and all of a sudden we don't have any relationship. I don't know why, but it seems to me, how I see it, that someone doesn't want me at this club. Gaz, I know you've got so much more to we'll get into more on this. We've got a full 3 hours we could talk about Mo Salah, but we would love to hear from you this morning. Give us a call or give us a text. Are you with Mo Salah on his comments, or are you with Cass? Do you think he has disrespected the club and his manager? Give me a call, 03717 2233 44. You can text us 81089. Really interesting topic this morning. Right, loads more reaction to come on all of yesterday's game. Coming up, this is Weekend Sports Breakfast with me, Katie Shanahan, this morning here on talkSPORT. The time is 6:16.
Morning, kids. So, we are almost ready to go. Ian Danter here in the commentary box. It is all about whether Dean Saunders can retain the talkSPORT World Championship. To win the leg. She's got it! Gets it! Double 9! He refuses the handshake.
Very good morning. Katie Shanahan here with you on Weekend Sports Breakfast. Yes, Christmas is just around the corner, so expect some Christmas songs to wake you up this Sunday morning. Alongside me is former Aston Villa striker Tony Cascarino. Just to keep you updated, it's currently tea in the cricket. England are 193 for 6, so going well at the moment. Ben Stokes currently on 36, with Will Jacks also in at the crease with 25, so being a bit more patient with the bat so far. So on day 4 at tea, England 193 for 6. Right, so why are we playing this song? Because this is A Wonderful Christmas by, obviously, Sir Paul McCartney. We're playing this because we want to hear your unusual Christmas traditions this morning. Give us a text 81089. Cass, do you have any particular Christmas traditions?
Yes. I do like a bottle of champagne morning of Christmas.
I love that. Any particular bottle?
Yeah, if it's been a good year and I've had a good year at poker, yeah, a bottle of Cristal.
Oh, lovely. Just a whole bottle in the morning. What, 8 a.m?
Yeah, no, we've got one this year. I've already got it.
You've already got it? Wow.
Yeah. The first year I met my wife, Jo, we had a bottle of Cristal and we sort of stayed with trying to have one a year because it's expensive and it's a really...
Yeah, that's an expensive Christmas.
Yeah. So that's just the one thing. But hey, look, I'm quite basic in many things, but that's the one extravagant thing I do.
Yeah, but I love that. Let's just say a really nice bottle of champagne for Christmas. A great way to start the day.
Yes, about 11.
After 11 o'clock.
So just as you know.
So you do your presents and the bottle.
I got me boys coming.
A lovely way to start Christmas. Well, we've got a couple of Christmas traditions with the Shanahan family. We always go to the rugby over Christmas. I actually come from a big rugby family who always tell me that I'm working with the wrong shaped ball. And so we always go to big game. Yeah. You know, Harlequins do that big game at Twickenham, so we all go with all our festive hats and stuff like that, with my brother constantly shouting, "Come on, you Quins!" like so loud and embarrassing. But yeah, we always go to the rugby over Christmas.
The Shanahans, that's
the
a real...
Shanahan clan. Yeah. So we do that, and then we always head to the carols because my mum loves the carols. So we all go.
I used to, because of my mum not being so well in recent years. I used to go mass. Not every Christmas, but a few Christmases on the 24th, the late mass.
Yeah, the late mass. Yes, you know what? Midnight mass.
Yeah,
I've done that. I've done that before.
But only a few times because my mum's not been good for a number of years. But I have done it with her, when she was in better form, as in physically. Yeah.
Well, I normally go to midnight mass. Last year we went to midnight mass and my mother-in-law was sat next to me, and I may have nodded off for a solid 20 minutes. And she turned to me at the end. Obviously, I woke up towards the end. It all finished. Oh, Merry Christmas. And she goes, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, no, I'm fine."
Best sleep I've ever had.
No. She thought I was praying. in deep prayer for 20 minutes. So she was really worried about me. I was like, no, I definitely nodded off. Very sorry. But yeah, so give us a text about what your unusual Christmas traditions are. The text number is 81089. We'd love to hear what you're up to. And maybe, Cass, at the end of the show, you'll reveal your favourite one out of all the texts that we've had this morning. So they'll have to beat you a bottle of champagne. That's a strong contender for best Christmas traditions. Right, let's look back at a bit more of yesterday's action, shall we? A big one in the title race, Aston Villa's 2-1 win over Arsenal. Matty Cash put Villa ahead in the first half before Leandro Trossard equalised. Then, in the last kick of the game, it was so dramatic, Emi Buendia scoring in the 95th minute. So Villa are now in third after their 7th win in a row and are just 3 points behind the leaders, Arsenal. So first of all, how good were Villa last night, Cass?
Well, look, it was a really, really tough game. I always say, if you're going to, get anything against Arsenal, you've got to earn it. And Villa earned it yesterday. I thought Tielemans in midfield, Kamara, Morgan Rogers, their effort, McGinn. I thought Matty Cash, who I luckily played golf with a number of years ago when he was at Forest. He was on loan at Dagenham and Redbridge, and I knew John Steele very well, who had him on loan. And I was in a 4-ball with Matty Cash, and the golf swing with after he scores and all that. And boy, he can hit a golf ball as well. And really lovely fella. But it's typical of what Villa are about. I think Unai Emery, as I said earlier, he gets a team together. They don't give an inch on the pitch. Declan Rice came off second best yesterday, and he's been fantastic this year for Arsenal. And I just thought, Eze found it tough. I thought Odegaard and Eze in the same team didn't quite click like they'd hope Arsenal. But the work rate of Villa was the reason where they just put a lot of pressure on Arsenal as much as they can. Arsenal had their chances. They certainly had chances in the game, especially second half. It was a really close encounter, very dramatic, and people might say a smash and grab. I think that's a little bit unfair on Villa. I thought Villa did ask a lot of questions of Arsenal.
Especially towards the latter stages of the game.
Absolutely.
They were knocking on the door, and it was just a matter of when that was going to happen. I mean, how impressive have you been with their turnaround in form? You've spoken very highly of Unai Emery, but Villa hadn't won a game until the 25th of September, and now they're up to third, beating the leaders. So, so much credit to Villa and how they've managed to turn this thing.
Yeah, I've spoke about it over the last few weeks because I've mentioned Villa when we were talking to Corals and said, what price are Villa to make the, not only the top four, but it's coming second. If you ruled out Arsenal, they win the title, and you say the next best. I said, what price are Villa? And they were a big price. And look, what we've seen is a team that's been built over a number of seasons. And let's be fair to Arsenal. Having no Saliba and Gabriel is a massive issue.
Yeah, and also Urian Timber having to come in centre. I know he does it for country, but that's still, he's out of position for Arsenal.
I don't see Arsenal losing a game like they did yesterday with Gabriel and Saliba in the back line.
Also, the game management could have been a bit better towards the end.
Look, it was a tough encounter. When you go to Villa Park, and I was there the year that I joined Villa in 1990, and I joined in the old March transfer window, and we ended up coming second in the title race. And I know what Villa can be like when it's rocking. And yesterday was a prime example of a stadium that just gets lifted by a performance and a very important win for them. But I think Arsenal just picked themselves back up again. I hope the narrative isn't this week of, Arsenal are going to fall apart and they're going to do that. Arsenal are well positioned to win the league, even though Man City are, breathing down their necks as well. Arsenal was still the team to beat. And when they get their players back, I think you'll see Arsenal bounce back with a lot of wins, one after another.
Well, they face Club Brugge on Wednesday, and then Wolves, Everton, Crystal Palace in the next couple of games Crystal Palace in the League Cups in the next couple of games for Arsenal. Right, coming up next, we'll be discussing Tottenham's game with Brentford, and we'll also look back on the World Cup draw with sports journalist Jake Sanders. Good morning. You're listening to Weekend Sports Breakfast with me, Katie Shanahan, where you can also watch us live on YouTube. Come and say hello on your smart TV. I'm alongside Chelsea and Republic of Ireland striker Tony Cascarino. Here are some of the headlines you're waking up to this Sunday morning. For the second time this season, Blackburn Rovers were forced to abandon a match due to a waterlogged pitch. Their game at home to Sheffield Wednesday yesterday was stopped after an hour. Charlton Athletics' home game with Portsmouth was abandoned due to a medical emergency. The Charlton concerned fan sadly passed away after the game. Everyone at talkSPORT sends our condolences to the family of the supporter. And Spurs beat Brentford 2-0 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. That was thanks to goals from Richarlison and Xavi Simons, who had a brilliant game. And after the match, a relieved Spurs boss, Thomas Frank, spoke to talkSPORT and said he enjoyed his side's performance.
Obviously a great feeling to get the win, but even more important to have a very good performance, almost a complete performance, I would say. I think we looked very, very dangerous when we went forward. I like the structure of the team, and I like the connections between the players, and we're creating a lot when we were running forward today. I think that was good, but also we were aggressive in the duels, winning them, and also still we talk about that clean sheet mentality, only giving 4 shots away against a Brentford team that can be very difficult to deal with.
Cass, how much does Spurs need that?
Oh, well, imagine if they lose against Brentford, the team that Thomas Frank used to manage.
Maybe more Thomas Frank.
And their home form, it was, and I think there's relief in his voice there. I really do, that Thomas Frank, and he's delighted. And I want to give a mention to one player because obviously Xavi Simons, who's came in, who got a full 90 minutes yesterday, and it was I felt really creative and looking to create chances. He had an assist with Richarlison's goal. Just being a player that they so needed at Spurs, someone to stand up and deliver, because he's had a frustrating time. Standout performers yesterday for Spurs, 2 centre-halves again. Romero, by the way, the 7th yellow card in 15 games.
Wow.
He loves a yellow card. He's
a bit more discipline would be good.
And Van der Ven made a challenge on Thiago. I mean, when he covers ground, Van der Ven, he is literally like, we look at Haaland and you look at runners of like Usain, but he opens his legs. He's a big lad and he's gone.
Yeah. Well, he's the fastest player in the Premier League.
Yeah, and just watching him get to a last-ditch challenge on Thiago, where a forward thinks he's got a chance to score and he can't because this guy's so quick. I think a great result. And look, it's only, I think it's Spurs' second home victory of the season.
Yes, that's correct.
Which is, a poor return you'd think from them. But I think the performance was a lot different from what they've seen. They've kept a clean sheet, and also they've been questioned in certain games of not creating anything. Yes, he was different. Okay, it was Brentford who have slightly come off of what they were in the early part of the season, but a big result for Thomas Frank.
Yeah, like you say, Xavi Simons with a goal and an assist. Yeah. Really pleased for him. It'll do the world of good for his confidence. As for Brentford, they're going to want to get out of North London. Well, 2 defeats to Arsenal, then Spurs in the same week. But any concerns for them?
Well, look, so far they've been doing okay. They're obviously quite comfortably above the relegation zone, and they got a few points in hand. It was always going to be a tough year, losing Thomas Frank and then Keith Andrews coming in. So I'm trying to give a benefit of doubt. Look, they've got a lot of good players, Brentford. I like Damsgaard. Sade, I think, is a player that can improve again. I think Thiago's goal scoring has been brilliant for them. There's a lot of good things in there. They've had a real tough week. Arsenal, Spurs, North London, like you say, in the same week. It's a tough one. So they move on. They'll be fine, Brentford.
OK, let's move on then. Let's also look back on the draw for the 2026 World Cup, which took place on Friday, which you heard live on talkSPORT. So England have been drawn in Group L alongside Croatia, Ghana and Panama. And now we know where the games will be played. So England's first game will be against Croatia in Dallas on the 17th of June. Then they face Ghana in Boston on the 23rd of June. And their group stage ends with a match against Panama in New York on the 27th of June. So for more on the draw and to look back on yesterday's Premier League action, including Spurs' 2-0 win against Brentford, which we were just talking about there, we could say a very good morning to Sunsport's Jake Sanders. Good morning, Jake.
Hi, Jake.
Good morning, guys. How are you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you.
So first of all, what did you make of the draw? Are you happy with those England games and the locations?
Yeah, I mean, the only slight disappointing thing about the draw is with so many teams in this sort of new format, you wanted England to play against sort of teams they haven't played against before, and it's got a 2018 feel to it with Panama and obviously Croatia. I know Ghana's something new and exciting, and they got obviously Semenyo and Kudus, which everyone knows about. But in terms of toughness, I think England will comfortably qualify. Croatia's obviously quite a difficult one, but got quite an age inside. But yeah, I wanted to play a few teams we haven't played before at major tournaments.
Yeah, I've heard this, Jake, quite a lot where fans are saying who they'd like to get. And I mean, I've been part of 2 World Cups. I don't remember as a player thinking too much about who we've got, because you generally, in years gone by, because there was obviously smaller groups and tougher teams, that you were just like, oh, we played Holland a lot and didn't like it, kept getting beat by Ireland.
Well, Jake, the standout team is Croatia, who beat England in the semi-finals of the 2018 World Cup, like you mentioned. So how keen is it for England to get off to a strong start, bearing in mind that is the first game?
Yeah, it's huge. The first game, I think England generally have done well at all major tournaments in their first game. I remember them beating Croatia at Wembley in Euro 2021 or Euro 2020. If England win the first game, they're almost qualified already, especially with what should be a pretty routine final game against Panama. So the first game's absolutely massive, especially with some groups, 3 teams qualifying. So you win your first game, sort of 80% of the way there already.
Yeah. What about the times of the games? And obviously New Jersey, Boston and Dallas, yeah? So how do the logistics work there, do you think? Is it good or bad?
Yeah, I mean, they're always... Do you mean for England generally? Or
yes.
The whole...
Well, I mean, Boston and New Jersey are not too far apart, are they?
No, they're not terrible. I think are they 9, 9 and 10, the 3 England games?
Yeah, so you've got Croatia in Dallas is at 9 o'clock. You've got Ghana in Boston at 9 o'clock and Panama in New Jersey at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I think they're quite reasonable. They're always going to sort of suit UK television, and 9, 9 and 10 looks pretty good. The one that could be really exciting, looking a bit far forward, is Mexico, potentially in Mexico City at 1 a.m. in the last 16, which that looks a bit of a mouth-watering prospect, playing Mexico in Mexico City.
And then potentially facing Brazil if all things go well. So, it's just getting quite real and very exciting now. Because like you say there, Jake, if England win their group, they could face Mexico in the last 16 before facing Brazil. Let's talk a little bit about Scotland then. What did you make of their draw? Brazil, Morocco and Haiti, 2 games in Boston and 1 in Miami. I suppose deja vu for them because they faced Brazil and Morocco last time they're in the World Cup back in 1998. So what did you make of Scotland's draw?
Yeah, it's quite an interesting one. It's sort of like a glamour tie Brazil, a winnable tie Morocco, and then what should be, like England with Panama, quite a routine one in Haiti. So I think they've got to be looking at that, thinking they've got a decent chance of qualifying, even finishing second. We know what Morocco were like, in 2022, getting to the semi-finals. We've like all of us, we've not seen loads of Morocco in the last few years, but I think Scotland, they'll have big support out there, and they've got to be thinking, they've got to be targeting second in that group, surely.
And Jake, you're a Spurs fan. What did you make of yesterday's 2-0 win over Brentford? Happy?
Yeah, it was a relief. We've all know about this home form for not just this season. It's been a year. I think since before yesterday, it was just three wins in a year in the Premier League. It was a relief. Everyone's been crying out for Xavi Simons to start, and we got that, and it was a proper professional performance. I think the most important thing for me was the intent, trying to be a bit more positive, a bit more braver, not giving up as many chances, letting these technical players get on the ball and play and take the game to teams like Brentford, because we've seen what happened against Fulham's, your Wolves', your Bournemouths, your Aston Villas, far too many poor home results. So it was a massive relief, yeah.
Yeah, well, you'll be happy for a week then, Jake. Yeah.
Well, maybe not. We got another game on Tuesday, so maybe not even a week.
Well, I think you called it spot on there, Jake, with Spurs, because Simons needed 90 minutes as well. You kept a clean sheet. You caused, Tottenham have been questioned about the amount of chances they've created in certain matches. You had the PSG one, which you were way more open from what you did against Arsenal, because there was a huge amount of criticism from that Arsenal game. So sort of Thomas Frank sort of managed yesterday's game in a fashion that clean sheet, created chances, London derby. OK, it's not Tottenham versus Arsenal or Tottenham-Chelsea, but a very necessary win for them.
Yeah, definitely. And I think he's struggled to shake off that, no disrespect to Brentford, that sort of Brentford mentality in a way. And
Yeah.
I know we're not on Arsenal, a City, Chelsea going for the league, but Tottenham in home games against bottom half teams. I know Spurs finished 17th last season. You've got to be taking the games to oppositions that come like that. Spurs fans pay a lot of money, and 60,000 people turning up. You have to take the game to the opposition, and that's what they did yesterday. After a bit of a nervy start, there was real intent there.
Jake, thank you so much for your time and for getting up nice and early for us on Weekend Sports Breakfast. Good luck for the rest of the season, and thank you so much for your insights on the World Cup draw.
Cheers,
guys.
Right, here's what's coming up on talkSPORT today. Right, at 9 o'clock, it's the Sunday edition with Henry Winter alongside Sean Custis. Then at 11 o'clock, it's the warm-up with Max Rushton and Barry Glendenning. After that, Hugh Woozencroft will bring you all the goals as they go in from the Premier League and beyond on Game Day Live. That's from 1:30 this afternoon. And then Majestic and Alan Pardew will take your calls on all the weekend's football. That's at 6:30 this evening, immediately following Fulham's game with Crystal Palace. And your Sundays rounds off with Danny Kelly's Trans Euros Express. That's at 9 o'clock, looking at all the big news from the World Cup and the top leagues in Europe. And the best way to keep across all of the sports days, just have talkSPORT bubbling away in the background. Right, I can tell you that England are currently 194 for 6. The players are back out at the Ashes. Let's get the very latest and say a good morning, not just yet from John Norman, but I can tell you that Ben Stokes and Will Jacks are in at the crease. Ben Stokes 36 with Will Jacks on 26 on day 4, session 2, just after tea. So let's join John Norman and say a very good morning to John. How are you, John?
Yeah, good, Katie. 194 for 6, as you say. Will Jackson, Ben Stokes at the crease, batted through that morning session with relative ease. They put away the Baz ball. It was more ball as they blocked away, left a lot of balls, and then nurdled a few off the legs. It was quite something to see, actually. But they're still here and still just about clinging on to the Test match. I'm not sure Australia would have been too upset with the approach, because that was the best time to bat and their bowlers came through unscathed. The second new ball is still best part of 20 overs away, so here we are, start of the middle session of the day. Obviously this is a session where batting will get more difficult as day turns tonight, but England have done what they needed to do, and that is to get through this session unscathed. And now let's see how they go about things. Can they put some pressure on Australia? The lead is only 17. It's a pretty puny one. But with Stokes heading lead 2019 and all that, and Will Jacks, who's an out-and-out batter, still at the crease, there is still some hope at the Gabba, where England are 194 for 6.
Thank you, John. Yeah, let's stay nice and optimistic this morning. England being relatively patient with the bat. Right, we'll be hearing from John Norman throughout the morning. Right, coming up next, we're going to be getting stuck into the morning's back pages here on talkSPORT. Katie Shanahan here with you this morning on Weekend Sports Breakfast. All of that to come. very good morning. You're listening to Weekend Sports Breakfast. Good to have your company this Sunday morning. I'm Katie Shanahan, in for the wonderful Shabana Hearn, and I'm alongside Tony Cascarino. We have the back pages coming up next. But first, here are some of the headlines you're waking up to this Sunday morning. National League Southside Weston-super-Mare have made the third round of the FA Cup for the first time, get this, in their 138-year history. The Seagulls beat fellow sixth-tier side Chelmsford City 2-0. That was thanks to 2 goals in the second half from Louis Britton. As for Newcastle, Bruno Guimaraes scored straight from a corner. It was amazing. You've got to have a look to help Newcastle to a 2-1 win over Burnley, who went down to 10 men at St James's Park. And Manchester City dispatched Sunderland 3-0 at the Etihad Stadium to move 2 points away from Arsenal at the top of the table. However, Pep Guardiola says there's still a long way to go in the title race.
We'll compete. We'll be there. Winning or no, I don't know, but we'll be there. And it's not bad today we're at 2 points, because in Premier League, tomorrow we're at 7 points. You know, Chelsea is incredible and lost 5 points in 3 days. It's Premier League, you know. Arsenal, I remember Aston Villa, the first game they break, 3 defeats and no
goals in the first 4 games.
You know that, and now 7 in a row is there. So it's the way you perform. I know for you win is good, you lose is bad. I know, it's fine. But doesn't it, you perform today. That's why I'm really pleased, because against Sunderland, we saw 2 years ago in Anfield what they have done, and whatever played during the way I do during 94 minutes, that made me feel okay. We are in a good way.
So Man City capitalising on Arsenal's defeat yesterday to go 2 points off the leaders. Cass, are you still not convinced City are title contenders?
Well, I still think defensively they fall a bit short for me. It doesn't help they're producing one player after another. Shirky can do all these amazing tricks, and not having Haaland score and thinking, oh well, he didn't have his shooting boots on today and didn't have much involvement. Phil Foden's form has been incredible, considering that, start of the season, I weren't even sure if he'd make the City lineup, and he's done brilliant. Fair play to him. And Arsenal won't like it, and Arteta won't like it, knowing that Pep Guardiola is breathing down their necks.
But unsurprisingly, I suppose. Right, let's take a look at the back pages now. And delighted to have Sam Stevens in the studio. This is a blast from the past.
It is, isn't it? It is. It feels like a throwback, this case. Yeah, it feels like the mid 2024.
I'll ask you, because obviously Katie asked me, any Christmas traditions in your house?
Well, the only thing we do every Christmas is go to midnight mass, but I suppose it's not a very unusual one, is it?
No,
but we always do it, even though I wouldn't.
I think it's great though. It's really
great,
nice.
Isn't it? Yeah. I think that's, if you're not feeling festive. I'm not feeling very festive this year. I don't know why. I feel like Christmas has been foisted upon me late in the day. But I do feel like midnight mass gets you feeling in the Christmas spirit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
In the mood. It's always a good thing to do. And then Christmas Day, we'll just generally have a few presents in the morning and celebrate people who are not around and all that sort of stuff. So.
And you're off to Australia, you lucky thing.
I know. Yeah, next week actually. Next week I fly to Australia. So
but not going
for the cricket.
Yeah, not for the cricket.
Thankfully, unlike a lot of our colleagues here at talkSPORT, by the way, who've gone out there to watch England successfully in the cricket, it's now going to be proved to be unsuccessfully in the cricket, it seems, because it's not going so well at the moment, is it? Although they're still batting, which I think some people saw as a bit of a remarkable achievement this morning.
Yeah, it's a minor triumph.
A minor triumph. At least they're still in the bat, so there won't be too many early flights home just yet.
So, Sam, just quickly, because
go on.
obviously it was a late shout, wasn't it, on Mo Salah? Have many of the papers been able to get updated that quickly?
Yeah, they have, actually. It's quite surprising because, as you say, it was late in the day. It was a late interview that we were only flagged really at talkSPORT late last night, but it's made some of the papers. In fact, The Sun leading with it this morning. Mo Salah has sensationally accused Liverpool of throwing him under the bus. We led with it at the top of this show. It is the big story at the moment, isn't it? Saying his relationship with boss Arne Slot is now broken. Salah was left on the bench as the reigning Premier League champions drew 3-3 at Leeds. You've talked about it already, Cass, but I mean, it's pretty remarkable, isn't it, that at times like this, when Liverpool could probably do with a little bit of calm, all this has done is kind of burnt the fires a bit more, isn't it?
Yeah, it's and I don't think, I'm only going to speak as a Liverpool fan, is that I don't appreciate one player putting himself at the centre of all the attention. Don't like it. That's not Liverpool's about for me. And he's not bigger than the football club. And when I see that with, teams, I think all fans take exception to players who feel they're bigger than their club. They're not.
Right, what else have we got, Sam?
Yeah, the other thing I was going to bring to your attention here is Maresca ready for mayhem in March. Chelsea manager Enzo Maresca refusing to give up on the title despite another sorry result. Probably not much to say about Chelsea's 0-0 draw with Bournemouth yesterday. It was a pretty underwhelming affair. Jason Cundy yesterday was pretty damning about Chelsea's performance. But Maresca says I said, because it's so long away, too many games until March, it's difficult. But again, the table is so close tight. I'm still thinking the 5-6 teams at the top are going to be close in the moment that you win 1 or 2 in a row. So he's not giving up on the title just yet. Is that a mistake? Do you think Chelsea have they ever really been title contenders for you?
Not title contenders, no. I think they're a little bit short in certain areas. And, I mean, it didn't help Delap getting injured yesterday, now being injured again. And, look, and when Chelsea are on it, they're a good side. We've seen that. We've seen the performance against Arsenal with 10 men. We've seen them against Liverpool. They can be a really competitive side, but they still need a bit more. I mean, we had this conversation yesterday about experience. They do lack a little bit of guile within the team.
Yeah.
They do.
A little bit of lack of experience. Do you think maybe that they might look to bring in more experience in January, or do you think that they're still going to continue with their young players?
Look, Sam, if the right player comes up and he ticks a box and he's 29, 30 years now, I always, look at Marquinhos at PSG, what he's done for them. Thiago Silva did that before for not only PSG, but for Chelsea. You need them types of players sometimes, just to guide and who've been there, done it. I think if that comes up for Chelsea, they might not want to go down that road, but I think it's a road if you can always find someone that brings something to the club through that experience, like a Xhaka to Sunderland, that type.
That's it, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Sam, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Quick update, England are currently 203 for 6 in the cricket. We'll be over to John Norman very shortly. Ben Stokes now on 39 with Will Jacks on 32. So England slowly building up the runs and just a little bit. We're trying to be optimistic here on talkSPORT regarding the cricket. Right, keep those texts coming in about your Christmas traditions, or you can give me a call also on the Mo Salah situation. Number is 03717 223344, or you can text me 81089. Right, coming up next, we're going to be looking ahead to the final race of the season in the F1. Katie Shanahan here on Weekend Sports Breakfast on talkSPORT. Lots coming up over the next couple of hours.
Corinthian Casuals are a team in the Combined Counties League Premier Division South. Despite that, they're one of the most important clubs in world football. Here's why. The club was formed in 1939 as the result of a merger between Corinthians FC and Casuals FC. Now, Corinthians FC were founded in the late 1800s when the FA's top brass were sick of getting pumped by Scotland every time they played them. As a result, a man called Nicholas Lane Jackson set up an amateur side which would bring in the best players who could all play for the national side. And it worked. It wasn't long before England were dominating the international fixtures they played, and it was largely down to Corinthians. In fact, in 1894 and 1895, they played consecutive games where Corinthians provided the entire England 11. But the thing is, the players refused to play professional football. They didn't believe in it. They wanted to spread the values of sportsmanship, competition, and played for the love of the game. It also helped that most of the players were Oxbridge graduates who didn't need the money. But instead of entering the league and cup competitions, they played exhibition football and toured the world, bringing the beautiful game with them. And it was this which spread the game throughout the world and made it so popular. Most famously, in 1910, they travelled to Brazil. And the locals in Sao Paulo were so impressed, they started their own team under the same name. Yes, the same Corinthians who won the FIFA Club World Cup in 2021, one of the biggest football teams in Brazil. Now, they were global superstars, and despite not being professional, Corinthians drew in the crowds. Everybody wanted to play them, everybody wanted to watch them. So much so, they regularly played the winners of the FA Cup in what eventually became the Community Shield, winning most of the time. They actually inflicted Manchester United's worst defeat, 11-3, a record which still stands to this day. Now, fast forward to today, Corinthian Casuals still don't pay their staff or players. The ethos of sportsmanship is still at the heart of everything that they do. And even though they're a side in the lower leagues, if you make the trip to King George's Field in Tolworth just off the A3, you'll most likely bump into Brazilian Corinthians fans who often make the pilgrimage across the globe just to watch their founding team play.
Good morning. You're listening to Weekend Sports Breakfast with me, Katie Shanahan, this morning, alongside the former Chelsea striker, Tony Cascarino, waking you up this Sunday morning. We're currently looking at the cricket. England 207 for 6, going well. There is loads on the agenda for you today, starting with Mohamed Salah has rocked the Premier League, saying promises at Liverpool have been broken. Has Arne Slot created a huge problem?
We are in a certain situation, and I try to pick the team that fits best for the situation we are in. We want to win, but unfortunately we didn't.
We'll be breaking down Salah's comments all morning and the 3-3 draw at Leeds yesterday. Aston Villa defeated Arsenal. That was live on talkSPORT with the last kick off the game.
Need you ever, whatever the weather. Up the Arsenal.
That was nearly as bad as when Anne Hathaway did it. Gabby Bonner there singing as he believes Villa are title contenders. No surprises there. But what do you think? Give us a call, 03717 223344. We'll have all the reaction, Cass is still laughing, to yesterday's Premier League and FA Cup matches. And England now know where they'll be playing their group stage matches at the World Cup.
Croatia in Dallas to kick us off, Ghana in Boston, and then Panama in the MetLife in New York.
Well, and we're also going to be getting your reaction to the news from Mo Salah, who says he thinks that the club has thrown him under the bus in a bombshell interview after Liverpool's 3-3 draw at Leeds United. Promises have been broken to him, and he feels like he very much sees his immediate future elsewhere. He says, I've been at this club scoring more than anyone else in this generation. If I'm somewhere else, everyone would go to the media and defend the player. I'm the only one in this situation. So any Salah reaction, give us a call. 03717 223344. You can give me a text, 81089. That is exactly what Alan Lindsay has done. Good morning, Alan. He says, I think Andy Robertson has more reason to be aggrieved than Salah. Kirkhead is playing terrible and still in the team, yet you hear nothing from Robertson at all. I think that's a really good point, Alan makes. Alan from Croatia, good morning to him. I mean, he's got a fair point.
Yeah, he has, yeah. Look, Mo Salah was the king, and unfortunately for him, his level of play, the standard of what he's put in, week out this season has been too short, way short of what everybody knows Mo Salah is capable of. I didn't like his reaction, and I think there's other players. I mean, look, Ekitike's had to play a bit part player at times, and he's clearly the next big star of Liverpool, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, there's another text here from Ash, the Newcastle fan, saying Mo Salah has tarnished his reputation. He's sulking. Him and Isak on the bench yesterday looked like sulking children. This is when you learn about people, when the times are tough. Mo Salah, when times are tough, is tough as a chocolate teapot. Also, just want to bring these quotes to you, Cass. Danny Murphy's saying, whether you agree with him or not, don't deal with it like this. I think you can be emotional, angry and frustrated. He's done wonderful things for this football club, but you have to keep it in the four walls of the club.
Yeah, Danny's talking from an old school idea, and I think it's absolutely spot on that, you know, you have your grievances and you can be unhappy. I mean, look, the one thing we don't know what can happen in a camp if Arne Slot, and I'm saying only if, I'm speculating here, that if he's, you know, discarded Mo Salah or basically not spoke to him or just ignored him and just dropped him and not, I don't think he needs to give an explanation, because I think it's obvious. He's not played well enough, son. There's no more than that. But if that has happened, then Mo could be upset because he's not owning up himself. So maybe Arne Slot's had to deal with a much different problem behind the scenes. Like as in, maybe Mo Salah's ignored the manager, which players do sometimes. They blank the manager. It always gets pointed on the manager that they ignore a player when they have to drop them. But there's quite a number of players I've seen in my career actually blank the manager because they've been dropped.
Yeah. OK, let's turn our attention to the title race in Formula One. One of three drivers, either championship leader Lando Norris, his teammate Oscar Piastri, or current champion Max Verstappen will claim the crown today at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. The final race of the season. To talk us through all the permutations is our newsreader, poised F1 correspondent, and a massive Leeds fan. We'll get into that very shortly. Tom Clayton.
We'll come on to that.
Come on to that. It was a very good game. Well done, you. Good morning,
Good
Tom.
morning.
So, Lando Norris is in the lead. He's won 7 races this season, 17 podium finishes.
Yeah.
He's had a sparkling campaign. Norris has said he will not ask teammate Piastri to move over, even though he would if the roles were reversed. Lewis Hamilton is experiencing his first season without a Formula One podium in 2025. As for today, talk us through the permutations.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's very simple, to be honest. If Lando Norris finishes on the podium, he wins the World Championship.
Simple as that.
Simple as that. Britain has an 11th Formula One World Champion.
Thank you. OK, goodbye. Don't need to talk about Leeds.
But no, there's obviously lots more nuance. There's lots more things that go on. Max Verstappen is starting on pole position for today's Grand Prix, and there's been talk that he might have some tactics involved. I'm not talking about 1996 where Schumacher punted Damon Hill off the road. I'm talking more about trying to back the other drivers into the chasing pack and not clearing off into the distance and showing, look, I was the fastest all along, but I'm going to concede the World Championship. That's not how Max Verstappen works. He will do what he can to try and win this race, to try and win the championship, because he can still win the championship by winning, and if Lando Norris finishes 4th, because what they have, remarkably going into this race, we're on to race number 24. Each of Verstappen, Norris and Piastri have won 7 races each. So, and the gap at the moment is 12 points between Norris and Verstappen. So that means you're effectively talking about Formula One goal difference. On racing countback will be the deciding factor if Norris finishes 4th and Verstappen wins the race. So it's a bit more complicated for Piastri to win the race, to win the championship. He has to win the race, and then Norris has to finish like 6th or something like that. So it's a bit more of a tall order for him. But it's incredible because all three drivers, for some reason, can lay claim to the championship, because Piastri had a really good first half of the season. Norris has had a really good second half of the season. And Verstappen has no rights being there in a car which is 3rd best on the grid. And he has just driven the pants off that car. It's been a great season from him.
Can I ask you one question, Tom, on this? Because obviously the car is... How much of the car do we... Because the cars break down a lot, don't they, in Formula One? Or is the modern-day car far more reliable? Because there's so many years that have gone by that a car's not made it.
Yeah, well... At the start of what we called the turbo hybrid era, when they brought in the V6 engines, cars are breaking down left, right and centre. Now they've refined the technology, they're a lot more reliable. And when Lando Norris broke down at the Dutch Grand Prix back in September, it was like, whoa, a car has broken down, an engine's gone pop. It's like, wow, this is a big moment. It was big moments in the title race as well, which he's managed to turn that around. But when you talk about the performance of the car compared to the performance of drivers, a lot of people will say, you know, Lewis Hamilton only won his World Championships because he was in the best car. Max Verstappen only won his World Championships because he was in the best car. There is an element of that with the McLarens, that they are, the drivers are in the fastest car. The McLaren has been by far and away the fastest car this season. But you only have to look at the performance of Max Verstappen's teammate, who struggles to get into the top 5 every weekend. And Verstappen is on the podium and up there with the fastest car on the grid. He has driven so well. All the respect in the world to him. He's not always the most palatable of drivers. He's not always one who everyone turns to and says, oh, this guy's the best and everyone likes him. He's someone who gets the job done. And he made a point before last weekend's Qatar Grand Prix. If he was in the McLaren this year, he would have won the World Championship before they left Europe in September. And I think he's absolutely right. He's got the mentality. He's got the speed. He is, at the moment, he's probably the best driver on the grid.
Let's talk about Lewis Hamilton. How unhappy is he at Ferrari? He's been less than glowing about him and his team's performances this season. He said he felt anger and rage after ending his Formula One season with Ferrari after being knocked out of qualifying in the first session for a 3rd consecutive time. So how unhappy is Hamilton at Ferrari?
I think he's unhappy with his performance. He's unhappy with the team's performance. One thing that he wanted to do was come in and take another step with Ferrari. Meanwhile, Ferrari seems to have taken a step back this year. And this generation of cars doesn't really mix with his driving style. So it's kind of been doomed to fail from the start, really. And Hamilton is one of these drivers. He is he's almost a bit of a mercurial talent at this point, because one weekend he might stick it in the top 3, top 4. The next weekend he'll be qualifying 17th, which is so up and down. And it's so dependent on the car, on the track. He's just not looked himself. And I think, to be honest, since the famous 2021 title decided with Max Verstappen, I don't want to say he's lost a step, but I think that affected him more than a lot of people gave it credit for.
Tom, we've tried to keep it as short as we can. Leeds in a late draw against Liverpool.
10 seconds go.
An incredible...
Start the clock, yeah.
3-3 draw. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm going to lay my cards on the table. Leeds deserved nothing from that game on the first 70 minutes. They deserved absolutely nothing from that game. I think Liverpool were the better team, and it was. And I'm going to pay myself by saying this because I've gone against it for the last 2 years. Daniel Farke managed that game perfectly from a Leeds perspective. He went from this. I mean, in the first half, I will say, I don't think Liverpool were that special.
No,
I don't think Liverpool weren't that good. And Leeds kind of, yes, Liverpool dominated, but Leeds didn't really allow them to have an awful lot. It was a couple of moments, but that was it. It was the second half, they gifted them a couple of goals, and all of a sudden the game was gone. Farke changes it. He moves back to the system that he won the championship with, and all of a sudden he started playing players in the right positions. Willie Gnonto on the left looked brilliant. Yeah. Brendan Aronson looked
Tanaka, Aronson, Gnonto all came on and made a difference.
Yeah, Tanaka looked fantastic, and I think he's so worth the goals that he's had in the last week. And to say that we've gone through a week where we played Manchester City, Chelsea and Liverpool, got 4 points, scored 8 goals in 3 games. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Farke in.
Amazing. Tom, thank you so much for your time. We're keeping you very busy today, doing the football, news, sport and the F1. And a reminder that talkSPORT and Tom Clayton will have updates on the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, which starts at 1 o'clock today. Right, it is day 4 of the second Ashes Test in Brisbane. Let's head over to John Norman. John, how are they doing?
Well, they're still batting. 212 for 6. England, a lead of 35. And they're still playing watchful cricket, really. I mean, a quarter chance has just gone down. Will Jacks has just clipped on from the full face of the bat straight to Travis' head. It's hit him on the thumb. I mean, those ones either stick or they don't. Jacks has played nicely for his 36. Australia going short to him as well, so that'd be interesting. They're setting a leg side field and they're digging it in and seeing if he's going to take the ball on. So if you're with me in the next 5 minutes or so, it means that he's picked out a fielder. At the other end, Ben Stokes, he had one uncomfortable moment to Scott Boland where a leading edge just popped over second slip. But apart from that, again, he's looked pretty assured. But these are the best conditions to be batting in. It's an old ball, the sun's out. And, you know, England have not lost a wicket today, but they haven't really got ahead of the game either. So, yep, they are where they are. They just need to continue doing this, really. Conditions will get more difficult. Second new ball is due in, 14 overs, so you're going to get a lot more life from it then. Obviously, it is a day-nighter, so as that continues and night starts to replace day, it's going to get more difficult. What kind of score can England possibly set Australia? 150? You know, that would give them a chance, but there's still some way off making that happen. So, a lead of 37. They haven't lost a wicket today. I suppose it's been England's day. 214 for 6.
We're remaining hopeful, John. Thank you so much. We'll be back with John throughout the programme. This is the Weekend Sports Breakfast on talkSPORT. Up next, we're going to be discussing another thrilling day in the Championship yesterday.
almost ready to go. Ian Danter here in the commentary box. It is all about whether Dean Saunders can retain the talkSPORT World Championship.
To win the leg. She's got it! Gets it!
Double 9! He refuses the handshake.
You're listening to Weekend Sports Breakfast with me, Katie Shanahan, alongside the former Chelsea and Republic of Ireland striker Tony Cascarino.
Can I ask you a question?
This is my favourite Christmas.
Oh, I was going to say.
This has got. Yeah, I was asked earlier, Katie, what's your favourite Christmas song? I think it's got to be this. I'm very festive this year. I don't know why. Maybe the advertising has just been rammed down our throats, but I have had the Christmas songs blasting in the car, and this one has been played a lot.
Yeah, something about it was one of the stars that I've always regretted I didn't go and see.
Oh no! Did you?
Because I had the chance. He was at the Albert Hall.
Oh, you should have gone.
And I didn't go, and I was like, wow. I mean, look, I thought George was an incredible artist, obviously with Wham, and then individually, and his album Older was brilliant. What a legend! And that song has become really more the Christmas song of all time, hasn't it?
Yes, so why are we playing this song? Because we've been asking you this morning, what are your Christmas traditions? Cass likes to bottle a beautiful bottle of, what was it?
Cristal
on the morning on Christmas Day.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Well, I might take that up. I'll get to my husband and be like, you know what? I think we should open a whole bottle at 8 a.m, darling, on Christmas Day. That'll certainly turn things around, won't it? We've had plenty of texts coming in this morning. 81089, keep those coming in. This one here says, our Christmas tradition is some of my grandchildren come round and help me decorate the tree. It started one year when I wasn't very well. I was going to put a tree up, and it's just carried on from there, really. I make the hot chocolate with cream and marshmallows, and they all put on the baubles on the tree for me. And this other one just here saying, we've had so many texts coming in. Our Christmas tradition, no, I've just read that one out. You've had the one that was regarding the champagne. We've also said our Christmas tradition is listening to Tiana Christmas, Sound of Brass. Remind me of being young, opening presents with my parents, Dad moaning about the mess and the house getting really hot with all the cooking. Do you cook on Christmas Day?
No. In a nutshell.
Okay.
No, there's far better people in my family that are very good at Christmas dinners. I'll leave it to them.
Okay, well, fair enough. Actually, we are hosting Christmas this year, and I'm going to be the hostess with the mostess, and my husband's going to be probably working the kitchen, and I'm going to be helping doing all the drinks. I'm very good at that. Right, let's take a look back on more of yesterday's action. It was another thrilling day in the EFL yesterday, including the Championship, and this is how the EFL sounded across talkSPORT.
First time left-footed cross, and in goes the third! Jordan James sneaking in at the near post. Leicester City are running riot at Pride Park. Derby 1, Leicester 3.
Bristol City 0, Millwall 1. The Lions third in the table, just 2 points off second place Middlesbrough, and a massive brawl on the touchline to finish things off.
Comes the kick, and he buries it in convincing fashion. It's Sheffield United 4, Stoke City 0.
So that could have had half a dozen. Farash, he should have have scored for Birmingham near the end, but their 1 was a mere consolation here. Southampton 3, Birmingham 1.
Comes back to Azon, goes for the far corner and settles it in emphatic fashion. It's only Coventry City's second defeat of the Championship season. Ipswich Town win by 3-0.
Right, some of the key scores in the Championship. League leaders Coventry were beaten 3-0 by Ipswich. I was there at Portman Road. Portman Road was absolutely bouncing. That game was live for you on talkSPORT. Coventry still top of the table, but a statement win for Ipswich. Could this be a significant turning point?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they've been on a decent run. I mean, I written down 4 results yesterday. I mean, Ipswich beating Coventry 3-0 was extraordinary, considering how good Coventry have been this season. I written down Sheffield United 4-0 and the turnaround, and was that 5 straight wins out of the back? For
yeah, 4-0 they beat Stoke.
Yeah, beat Stoke 4-0, who had been flying early in the season. Millwall at Bristol City.
Well, I was going to say Millwall picks up another
third in the table.
Third in the table, Cass. They're absolutely flying after
going
beating
really well.
Bristol City 1-0.
You know, Alex Neil's done a tremendous job there, and they've got a lot of younger players that have come in and done brilliantly well. I'd add in Southampton as well. I mean, Will still loses his job. Suddenly, the whole thing changes, and they just get win after win after win.
Yeah,
that is just, it's like a goal scorer that doesn't score, and then suddenly a new manager comes in and suddenly gets goals again.
Yeah, so he got his first win as a Southampton boss. Brilliant 3-1 win after becoming permanent manager. So I suppose it was a difficult start, like you say, for Southampton, but Ton de Ecker turning things around very quickly.
Absolutely. And look, things changed really dramatically. I mean, I go back to just quickly as well, Sheffield United, because Patrick Bamford, who hadn't played hardly at all for a year and a half, maybe even closer to 2 years, 4 games in, 2 goals, a senior pro. That's a Harry Redknapp done by Chris Wilder. He's done a Harry Redknapp, gone and got someone that he knows can play and get goals at this level. And a lot of people might have raised their eyebrows. Chris Wilder's gone and got Patrick Bamford in and got goals. An important one yesterday as well, 2 in 4. So another big thumbs up there.
Yeah, it was another exciting day in the EFL. Well, EFL All Access tomorrow from 6 p.m. on talkSPORT 2 with all the EFL action and loads more, of course. You can keep up to date over on talksport.com. Right, this is Katie Shanahan and Tony Cascarino here with Weekend Sports Breakfast on talkSPORT. Next up, we will be joined by talkSPORT darts commentator, can't wait for this, Mark Wilson, to look ahead to the World Championships, which begin next week. Good morning. You're listening to Weekend Sports Breakfast with me, Katie Shanahan, alongside Tony Cascarino this Sunday morning. Here are some of the headlines you're waking up to. New Celtic manager Wilfred Nancy will take charge of his first game against league leaders Hearts. Huge game for this in the Scottish Premier League today. Celtic can go top if they win that game with the game in hand. So David Beckham has called it a wonderful miracle as he oversaw his Inter Miami side beat Vancouver Whitecaps 3-1 to win the MLS Cup for the very first time. Lionel Messi provided 2 assists in that game. And Newcastle defeated a spirited Burnley side 2-1 at St James's Park with goals from Bruno Guimaraes and Anthony Gordon. Zion Fleming's late penalty reduced the arrears, but Burnley also saw Lucas Pires sent off just before half-time for denying a goal-scoring opportunity. Newcastle boss Eddie Howe has been a bit frustrated despite the win, as he told talkSPORT after the game.
Yeah, of course. So you want to put the game to bed, and everything about a half-time talk was to do that, but Burnley made it difficult, and that's why I say the Premier League's so strong, because they were down to 10 men, but they still made it incredibly tough for us. And you know, in that moment at the end there, you're one moment away from losing points, and thankfully we didn't. But it was certainly a lot to take from it.
Cass, the headline from this game was Bruno Guimaraes scoring from a corner. I mean, how good was that?
Yeah, it was. Look, he puts in a corner that's got a lot of bend on it. Dubravka in goal, sorry. You got to get that. You got.
Do you reckon?
Oh, absolutely. The goalkeeper, I mean, he's lost flight of the ball, but he's got caught underneath it as well. And it's, look, don't get me wrong, it's a great whipped-in corner that's got a lot of bend on it, but a goalkeeper who's not opposed, he hasn't got anybody around him blocking him, he's got to make that save. You'll be looking at your keeper there, absolutely.
OK, it is time to go over to John Norman. And normally, John, I love going over to you for an update, but I know every time we go, because there's been a wicket in the cricket. Who's gone, John?
I tell you what, it was a lot of fun, wasn't it? On Early Sports Breakfast. Seems like a lifetime ago.
It does. And that, John, I mean, that was a complete batting collapse. But who's gone this time?
It's Will Jacks. I tell you what, this match has been typified by England's poor fielding, their poor catching. 5 catches going down as Australia made 511. Meanwhile, Australia have caught everything. And check this catch out by Steve Smith at first slip. It's Michael Neser bowling, okay, with the wicketkeeper up behind the stumps. And first slip is not right next to the keeper. He's about, 6 or 7 yards behind to the keeper to the right, but very close to the stumps. Michael Neser is a fast bowler. He's only bowling around 125, 130 clicks, but still he's a fast bowler. And Will Jacks is playing this ball defensively. The ball has taken the edge of the bat. It's gone to the left of Steve Smith, and it's gone really fast. It's a thick edge, and it's also going towards the ground. And Steve Smith, one of the best slip fielders in the game, has pulled off an absolute worldy grab to his left. He's had to dive quickly to his low to his left. Nothing's come off the edge. It's not like he's expecting it, and that is quite something. So, that's a real shame for England, because they've given one chance pretty much, and it's not even an out-and-out chance. It's a half chance, maybe a quarter chance. And Australia have taken it. Brilliant catch from Smith. Will Jackson comes to an end for 41. Neser has struck. He's taken his 3rd wicket. And unfortunately, for all the hard work, England's still well behind the game. The lead, 47. But now Australia will feel that not quite through to the tail in an old-school fashion, because Gus Atkinson has a Test century to his name. And Bryden Carse has scored first-class centuries. But that's a big moment. And just when England didn't need it, because the floodlights are coming on and batting is going to get more difficult now. 224 for 7 then, England, a lead of 47.
Oh, well, Will Jacks, I suppose, can be relatively happy with that. 41, Ben Stokes still in at the crease, closing in on a half-century, 49. So England have, up until this point, Cass, had a good morning, but Will Jacks, the latest wickets fall.
Floodlights to floodgates now, isn't it?
We were so hopeful and optimistic this morning. And then we have to go to John Norman when we know what happened.
Always a bad sign.
Okay, right. Next week, this is all very exciting. On Thursday, the 11th of December, I love this time of the year, the World Darts Championships get underway at Ali Pali. And to look ahead, we are joined now by a man who knows everything about darts, is our darts commentator, Mark Wilson. A very good morning, Mark.
Hiya, Mark.
Good morning, guys. How are we doing?
Very good, and very good this morning, thank you. One of the best parts of Christmas is the darts, so you must be raring to go.
Yeah, what do you mean the best part? It is Christmas, isn't it? The darts, that's it. That's it, that's the only thing.
Yeah, well, come on, Mark, give us the lowdown, because obviously Littler's had an amazing year and there's been others. So tell us how you're seeing this World Championships this year.
Well, look, it's the first time they're playing for £1 million. That's the first thing we're going to say. Whoever wins on January the 3rd is going to walk home with £1 million in the back pocket, and it looks to be Luke Littler. And
they're
Luke
overpaid,
Humphries.
Mark. They're overpaid. These
they
darts
are.
players these days.
They deserve every penny they get. It's going to be great, isn't it? I mean, can you imagine the pressure having to hit that double to win £1 million? But it's Luke and Luke against the world, it looks like at the minute, doesn't it? Who's going to stop Littler and Humphries? And I guess that's the question the other 120 odd players have got to answer.
Yeah, well, it's always a player, Gerwyn Price, or, if he gets to his very best, can be a real handful in the hockey, can't he? There are many other challengers and some young players around in darts now. It's not only about Luke Littler, who's rising to the top. There's a lot of good players coming into the game.
Oh, there are. Look, they'll probably, realistically, there's probably 20 players, I think, will be heading to Alexandra Palace in the next few weeks that genuinely think they're going to win the world title. And that in itself is exciting because, as you mentioned, there are players that have won it before and that are more than capable of winning it again. It seems that Littler at the minute is in that run of form where nobody can seem to beat him in the big tournament. So he's going to be really confident. Luke Humphries has had a good year as well. He's won tournaments and reached finals. He's going to be confident. But, yeah, there'll be 20-odd players, Tony, that think they can win it. And, where's that belief? Then it's going to make some great darts.
And, Mark, they've announced that Ali Pali will host the World Darts Championship for another 6 years. What makes it such an iconic venue?
Oh, look, I mean, it's just the thrill of the place. When you walk up that hill or you drive up the hill to get to Alexandra Palace and you see it all lit up, with the sponsors' colours on it, it's just an amazing place. I would recommend anyone that ever gets the chance to go should go. The atmosphere inside, it doesn't matter who's playing, is electric. All the tickets had sold out before we even knew who was going to be playing or when they're going to be playing. You're buying a ticket, not knowing who you're going to see. You're going to see some good darts players, but it just makes for the atmosphere. People go just to be there. It's like a go-to sporting occasion, and every session sold out, and it will be again when they up the capacity next year as well.
Mark, we always look at players on form, and one player that I'm quite shocked that hasn't had a big involvement in recent years, winning titles, is like Michael van Gerwen, who, not so many moons ago, everyone thought he was going to be the follower of Taylor.
Yeah, well, look, for a long period he wasn't he? Dominated the game, but that domination has come to an end now. But he has shown signs. I'm with you. His form now. I think the problem for Michael at the minute is when he was at his peak, the difference between his best game and his worst game wasn't a lot in it. Now that gap has got quite a lot wider. So when he has an off day, he's more than beatable. But he's shown a couple of times this year, picked up a couple of big titles that when he's on it, he can do it. And the beauty of this tournament is it's spread over so many weeks, is that, you can be good and then you get a few days off. Can you raise your game again? I mean, he's a threat. There's no doubt about that. And he'll be looking for another world title. And he's shown he can still do it. He's just got to be on song all the time, because if he's a shade off it, he won't win it.
And Mark, you were at St James's Park, I believe, yesterday to watch Newcastle beat Burnley 2-1. What did you make of the game?
I thought Burnley started really well for the opening 10-15 minutes. They couldn't get a goal, and then once Newcastle made a lot of changes, once they got to grips with the game, they were the better team. They got 2-0 up and a man up. I think Eddie Howe was a little bit disappointed they didn't kick on and win in more decisive fashion. And as football is, Burnley get a penalty added on time, and they had a great chance at the end to level it up. So they nearly snatched something, but I'd be worried. I mean, Scott Parker was glowing in his praise of his team, but I thought they were very limited yesterday, and I think the fact that Newcastle didn't put them away made it look more close to the game than it actually was.
I mean, I know it was late on, but Vizza got on the pitch. I mean, only, 15, 20 minutes to show anything, but at least it's a good sign for getting him back.
Yeah, exactly. Look, they've waited 3 months, haven't they, to get him on. There were a couple of nice touches, and I think Eddie Howe said he played him a little bit longer than he planned to. But I think the fact that they had the man advantage meant he felt that he could give him that little bit of extra time. They're going to be careful with him. They're not going to over push him. I don't think you'll see too much of him in the next few weeks as they try and build up his match fitness. But yeah, the raw when he came onto the pitch was great. You know, they've waited a long time to get him on, and I'm sure when he's fit, he'll certainly be adding plenty to that team.
Are you with Katie or me? Are you Dubravka at fault for the goal or brilliance from Gramiro?
Yeah, but I just love a goal, so I'm going to credit the player.
Yeah, yeah.
Look, when he hit it, I mean, it was a heck of a hit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You know,
I agree.
Mark Wilson.
Yeah, I agree with you on the fabulously taken corner, but I'm not sure about.
Not easy to do. You don't see those every week. Just going to credit Bruno here.
No, he tried it again after. I don't know if it showed it on the highlights, and it went on the roof.
That probably didn't make it, did it?
No.
Right, Mark. Thank you ever so much for your time this morning. Really looking forward to the World Darts Championships getting underway next week at Ali Pali. Our talkSPORT commentator Mark Wilson joining us this morning. Now, we're closing in on the talkSPORT Darts Presenter Trophy 2025. Now in its third year, would you believe, where 8 of talkSPORT's biggest names go head-to-head ahead of the PDC World Darts Championships. Kick-off, join us live on Wednesday the 10th of December on Hawksbee and Jacobs. That's from 1 p.m. to hear your favourite presenters go head-to-head to see who will take home the prestigious talkSPORT Darts Presenter Trophy. You can also watch the event
and £1 million
live. Can you imagine? Actually, yes, and £1 million. You can watch it live on our YouTube channel. This is the big question. Can Dean Saunders claim the crown for the third year in a row? You can tune in to find out Wednesday from 1 p.m. Put it in your diary on talkSPORT. Right, it is competition time now. Speaking of darts, talkSPORT has teamed up with Pitch Experiences to bring you I love this song, an all-out VIP experience at the PDC World Darts Championships at Ali Pali on the 23rd of December. You and 3 mates, get this, could be living at large with platinum seats, fine dining, a complimentary bar and exclusive access to the 501 lounge with Russ the Voice Bray. Then it's straight to the prime table for the best view in the house as the darts drama unfolds. Get ready for an unforgettable Ali Pali Christmas. Here's how to enter. For your chance to win, text darts to the number 8338. Text costs £2 plus your standard network rate, or you can call 0343 4217508. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 18th of December. That's when you'll need to answer the phone if it rings. 18 plus and UK residents only. So for your chance to win, text darts to 83338 or 8338 now. That is the network promotion for T's and C's at talksport.com. Now, I've got a funny story about that, actually, because my brother-in-law, it was exactly one of these stories where you had to, he called in, it was a competition, and he's going to hate me for saying this, and they were like, right, okay, you're on talkSPORT, it was the chance to win, and he completely bottled it, and he lost the chance to win all the money. So best of luck to all.
That's the heat of the moment, isn't it? We all say, when if you're on any quiz thing or you watch people on telly and there's one part of you that goes, yeah, I can do it, and then when you're in it.
Yeah, you're in it. You're in it to win it.
It's like a penalty shootout. I did a penalty shootout in World Cup 90, and the moment of putting that on the spot and having to take a penalty with the whole world watching, it's not like anything else I've ever experienced.
Yeah, so text starts to 83338 now. Very good luck to everyone involved. Right, it is day 4 of the second Ashes test in Brisbane, so it is time to go over to John Norman. But Gus Atkinson just in at the crease alongside Ben Stokes, who's got a half century. So how are they getting on, John?
Well, they're still there, 226 for 7. Ben Stokes has just reached 50, and he's taking his time getting there, but that does not matter. He's still there, taking 150 deliveries, only 4 boundaries in that stay, and alongside Will Jacks batted through that morning session or early afternoon session without England losing a wicket. Jacks went a few moments ago, caught brilliantly by Steve Smith at first slip, and England had their hearts in their mouths when Gus Atkinson was seemingly pinned in front of the stumps. Australia went for the review after the umpire gave it not out. And actually, it was good for England because there was a little inside edge onto the pads, and that means that Australia now have used up all their reviews. So possibly that will come back to haunt them. England's lead is still a slender one, 49, with just Archer and Cast to come. But they're still battling away in Brisbane, 226 for 7.
Thank you, John. Yeah, England are still batting as we remain and try to remain relatively optimistic this Sunday morning. Right, you're listening to Katie Shanahan and Tony Cascarino here on Weekend Sports Breakfast here on talkSPORT. Coming up next, we're going to be finding out what it's like to be a top sports player and run a business at the same time. Harlequins and Ireland's Emma Swartz will be with us on the programme. A very good morning. You're listening to Weekend Sports Breakfast with me, Katie Shanahan, alongside Tony Cascarino. We've got to head over to John Norman because, John, this is a big wicket in the cricket. The captain has just gone.
It is the wicket in the cricket. It's Stokes who's gone. He's been caught behind from Michael Neser, who has just bowled on a length, nagged away. The same... they say bowl for a 2p or a 10p, and that's exactly what he's done. He's just bowled the same ball over and over and over and over again. And Stokes has defended and defended and defended. Oh, he's taken the outside edge. And it's brilliant bowling. It's brilliant fielding by Neser behind the stump. Oh, by Carey behind the stumps. He's standing up. And Stokes' long stay, 150 deliveries, has come to an end in sorry fashion, really. He walked before the umpire had even given it. He knew the outside edge had been taken. And I tell you what, the cameras followed him off the field. It was noticeable to me. I don't know. You know, when he reached 50, it didn't look like he looked to the dressing room, Stokes. I think Stokes feels let down. by some of his teammates. We'll see. We'll find out. England haven't lost this game yet, but they will do. You imagine now. 2 wickets to go. A lead of just 50. Carson Atkinson at the crease. They'll start swinging the bat now. But Stokes has essentially showed some of his teammates how to bat on this pitch. Sadly, if England had batted like Stokes and Jacks did yesterday, they could have then gone Bazball today. They've got it the wrong way around, and they're looking likely to succumb to a big defeat in the second Test match. And no team comes back from 2-0 down in the Ashes in Australia in 140 odd years. It's never happened. So here we are. Stokes walks off with 50, and we got Carson Atkinson at the crease. A lead of 52. England 2-2-9 for 8.
Thank you, John. Yeah, England have been, especially Ben Stokes, have been patient with the bat, but you feel as though that's really it.
It's a defining wicket, isn't
We
it?
both knew the moment that popped up.
Well, you said floodlights and I went floodgates. It's happened.
Captain's gone, reached 50. He did a good job, but I think he fist pumps his helmet. He probably knew that was it. But,
a big loss, that wicket.
Yeah, big blow for England. Right, moving on. We are joined now by a rugby international who also runs 2 successful sportswear businesses. So how did that come about? And how does she juggle the 2? We can say a very good morning to Harlequins and Ireland's Emma Swords. Good morning, Emma.
Good morning, guys.
Hi, Emma.
Thank you so much for coming. Really good, thank you. Thanks for coming on the programme. First of all, I'm a Quins fan. So tell us, what's life like at Harlequins at the moment?
Well, we got the win yesterday, thank God, because we were in a bit of a drought. But the girls, they had a good opportunity to get against Leicester and put some points on the board, and they did. I mean, to be fair to Leicester, they put in a good fight. So I was sat here thinking, come on, girls, we have to get this one.
Yeah, I believe you won 56-28, so a good win. Let's move on to the fact that you run 2 businesses as well, Below the Shoulder and Bond Seas. So tell us about them and how do you manage to juggle all of these commitments?
Okay, juggle, manage, I don't know. But so basically, in short, because the game's become more and more professional, working elsewhere is pretty difficult, and just your time restrictions with work. Some of the girls do it, and I think fair play to them because it's a lot to ask now. It's become more and more of a demand from your time. But from the 2 brands that I started, the first one was Monty, which is basically a headwear company, and I just wanted a really fun brand. I wanted to capitalise off the sport that we do. And it's gone really well. We've supplied so many different rugby teams, netball teams, hockey teams with scrunchies. That's kind of the vibe that we've gone for now. And then Below the Shoulder came about this summer to, again, capitalise off the World Cup. I'm really lucky that I work with 3 Red Roses, which definitely helped sales throughout the World Cup. But yeah, we just wanted to have another fun brand that didn't really represent the game at that point, and that's what we've gone for.
Let's talk just a bit about the Red Roses and what a year it has been for them, Emma. I mean, we've seen women's rugby grown exponentially in recent years, but also in the last year, you feel as though the game has really gone from strength to strength, bearing in mind the Red Roses won the World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, you to win a World Cup at Twickenham, a sold-out stadium, the girls absolutely smashed it for commercials, marketing, and actually just growing the game worldwide. They have been backed really well through the RFU for the last 5, 6, 7 years, and they finally got the win this time. And again, it's just filtering back into business that has helped so many girls get commercial deals or build brands of their own. So it is a really exciting time for them because still they're battling away with pay grades and so on. So that was kind of a real stamp in history to go, come on, have a look at us now. We're legit athletes and we want to get into the world of business and brands.
Well, congratulations for everything that you're doing, Emma, managing to juggle being a businesswoman alongside being a rugby player as well. And what a year it has been for women's rugby. Emma, thank you so much for coming on the programme and best of luck for the rest of the season with Quins.
Have a lovely day, guys. See you later.
Thank you. Right, I'm afraid we've got to go over to John Norman. Hello, John. And there's more bad news for England, John. Who's gone this time?
Yeah, I can't see much good news coming. I'm properly
it's
the
a
voice
similar
of
theme
doom.
with me and you, John. Every time the cricket's on.
You used the word floodlights, and I said straight after floodgates.
Tell you what, it's good cop, bad cop with me and Katie, isn't it? When England are batting, it is as expected. Look, after all the obduracy, there's no way that Atkinson and Cast are just going to hang back and play defensively, especially with the second new ball due in 7 overs. They're going to go for their shots. This game is done. And Atkinson actually he was actually trying to keep this short ball down. He just picked up short. Be careful here. He just picked out short mid-wicket.
Well done.
So, yeah, thank you, everyone. So, Brendan Doggett with the breakthrough. And England now 1 away from being bowled out in second innings. A lead of 54. They're 231 for 9.
You know, it's been a better morning than we expected, both of me and you, Cass. Thank you, John. We'll be back with John as and when the last wicket falls. Right, coming up next, we're going to be discussing all of this weekend's FA Cup action and looking ahead to a big game at the Amex as Brighton host West Ham. We're also taking your calls about Mo Salah. Keep those texts coming in, 81089, or you can give me a call, 03717 223344, as he says he thinks he's been thrown under the bus by Liverpool. Do you agree with Cass that Salah has thrown Liverpool under the bus? Keep those calls and texts coming in. This is Weekend Sports Breakfast with me, Katie Shanahan, alongside the wonderful Tony Cascarino here on talkSPORT.
Corinthian Casuals are a team in the Combined Counties League Premier Division South. Despite that, they're one of the most important clubs in world football. Here's why. The club was formed in 1939 as the result of a merger between Corinthians FC and Casuals FC. Now, Corinthians FC were founded in the late 1800s when the FA's top brass were sick of getting pumped by Scotland every time they played them. As a result, a man called Nicholas Lane Jackson set up an amateur side which would bring in the best players who could all play for the national side. And it worked. it wasn't long before England were dominating the international fixtures they played, and it was largely down to Corinthians. In fact, in 1894 and 1895, they played consecutive games where Corinthians provided the entire England 11. But the thing is, the players refused to play professional football. They didn't believe in it. They wanted to spread the values of sportsmanship, competition, and played for the love of the game. It also helped that most of the players were Oxbridge graduates who didn't need the money. But instead of entering the league and cup competitions, they played exhibition football and toured the world, bringing the beautiful game with them. And it was this which spread the game throughout the world and made it so popular. Most famously, in 1910, they travelled to Brazil. And the locals in Sao Paulo were so impressed, they started their own team under the same name. Yes, the same Corinthians who won the FIFA Club World Cup in 2021, one of the biggest football teams in Brazil. Now, they were global superstars, and despite not being professional, Corinthians drew in the crowds. Everybody wanted to play them, everybody wanted to watch them. So much so, they regularly played the winners of the FA Cup in what eventually became the Community Shield, winning most of the time. They actually inflicted Manchester United's worst defeat, 11-3, a record which still stands to this day. Now, fast forward to today, Corinthian Casuals still don't pay their staff or players. The ethos of sportsmanship is still at the heart of everything that they do. And even though they're a side in the lower leagues, if you make the trip to King George's Field in Tolworth just off the A3, you'll most likely bump into Brazilian Corinthians fans who often make the pilgrimage across the globe just to watch their founding team play.
Good morning. This is Weekend Sports Breakfast live on YouTube, on your smart TV, and also, of course, on your radio. I'm Katie Shanahan. A very good morning. Alongside me is the former Millwall and Chelsea striker, Tony Cascarino. Millwall flying at the moment, up to third in the table. Very happy for them. As for all of the headlines this morning, so much to get into. Mohamed Salah has rocked the Premier League, saying promises at Liverpool have been broken. Has Arne Slot created a huge problem?
I don't think he's out of the Liverpool team because someone's trying to forcibly remove him from the club. In fact, I know that isn't the case. It's because he hasn't been performing to his best levels.
His relationship with Slot has deteriorated. talkSPORT's chief football correspondent Alex Crook will join us later for more on this. Aston Villa fans, just how are you feeling after beating the leaders Arsenal, which was live on talkSPORT?
Need you ever, whatever the weather. Up the Arsenal.
Maybe Gabby, stick to the day job. Gabby Abonhor singing there. You know, I mean, Anne Hathaway did it pretty bad, but Gabby, there we go, believes that Villa are title contenders. But what do you think? Give us a call, 03717 2233 We'll have all the reaction to yesterday's Premier League and FA Cup 2. And there were two more games in the Premier League today. Brighton host West Ham. That's at 2 o'clock. What are Fabian Hertzler's keys to victory for the Seagulls?
To go and play our style of play, to go and start the game with a lot of energy and to play it until the end like this.
Let's hear from you this Sunday morning. Give me a text 81089 or you can call us 03717 2233 This is Weekend Sports Breakfast here on talkSPORT. Right, let's get into Mo Salah, shall we, who feels that the club has thrown him under the bus in a bombshell interview after Liverpool's 3-3 draw at Leeds United. What a game that was, by the way. He says promises have been broken to him and he feels like he very much sees his immediate future elsewhere, bearing in mind they have Inter, then Brighton, and then he actually leaves for AFCON the following week. So some other quotes from him say, I said many times before that I had a good relationship with the manager, and all of a sudden we don't have any relationship. I don't know why, but it seems to me, how I see it, that someone doesn't want me in the club. I mean, Cass, this is really, really strong stuff from Mo Salah. Where do you sit on this, especially when we come to terms with the relationship he's now speaking about with Arne Slot and Mo Salah?
Well, the first question I'd asked him, what promises have been broken? Okay, we'll start there. Because I don't know many clubs that make promises to you, as in whether you'll be in the team or managers. He was in the team for a long period this season. He's thrown the club under the bus this morning, not the other way round. I want to know what promises have been broken. Is that a fair question?
Yeah, no, that's
because if you're making that accusation, you better tell people what your promises were you were being led to believe. I mean, I can't work out one. Well, you'd have to tell me something different, because I don't know clubs that go, oh, we'll promise you this. You get paid anyway. Your contract has all been honoured. So what is he talking? Promises of playing?
Well, surely it's down to performances. Arne Slot is in a rut at the moment. He needs leaders. He needs characters. He needs players like Mo Salah to pull them out of this mess, not actually to create him more problems.
Absolutely. He's shown disloyalty to the club by doing what he's doing. You know, I understand you're upset and you've been left out, but you can't argue your performances. I said earlier, the last 30 games, he's scored 7 goals for Liverpool. The previous 30, he scored 25 in 30 games. That was the standard he set over a number of years. So if Mo's not performing to that level, the manager's got a problem. He's losing games. Now, can Salah survive? Well, if Slot gets a sack and someone else comes in and then uses Mo Salah, puts him back in the team, that is conceivable. That can happen. But Arne Slot's got a much bigger problem now. He's got a player who's voicing, his opinion on things where he's losing games or losing points in matches like he did yesterday. So Arne Slot's not going to select him. I think he'd be mad too. I wouldn't want to select him at the moment. I'd say maybe you need to take a reality check, Mo. Because what you've performed like is not the performances of last season.
Well, Jamie Carragher says on Mo Salah that he thinks his legs have gone. Do you agree with that?
He's definitely lost half a yard, but I'd like to think that Mo Salah could reinvent himself slightly. Ryan Giggs did it, and many others have sort of reinvented their style slightly to be still a very valuable player for the team. Mo so far, I mean, look, what doesn't he do? He doesn't work hard enough for his fullback that he plays in front. He's looked on the fringes of games and quite disinterested in times this season. That's been the extraordinary. I think he was lucky to survive as long as he did in the team. Honestly, that's how I feel. Because there's been far bigger and better players at Liverpool that have been left out sooner. I would certainly say Gerrard was left out. I still think he had a level of performance to still be in the team when Brendan Rodgers left him out. You have to make big calls at football clubs. Mo Salah has not been good enough.
There we go. Right. Let's look ahead to today's 2:00 kickoff in the Premier League as Brighton host West Ham. Former Seagulls defender Adam Virgo joins us on the programme to look ahead at the game. Very good morning, Adam. Good to see you.
Hi, Adam.
Yeah, morning, Katie. Morning, Tony.
It's been a crazy game midweek in that 4-3 loss to Aston Villa at the Amex. What have you made of Brighton's season so far, looking ahead to this game?
Yeah, it was a mad game of football. I went to make a cup of tea at 2-0 and I came back and it was 2-2. It was just incredible. But that kind of sometimes shows Brighton's defensive frailties that they do suffer with, that they can be open and they can be got at, even if they do take leading games. Listen, I think it's like the glass half full, half empty situation with Brighton at the moment. If they win today, they go on level points with Chelsea, which will be still very, very good for them considering the amount of money that Chelsea has spent. I still think the model that they go with will show levels of inconsistencies when they do lose their best players and new players are trying to come in. As we saw with that starting 11 against Aston Villa, maybe 5 of the new players that they've tried to bring into breath on in the squads started that evening. So I still think the manager's still trying to find his feet a little bit in terms of style of play, trying to control games better when they do take the lead. But Brighton sitting in where they are in the Premier League, I think they'll take that coming into the Christmas period.
I mean, if you see Brighton and they're at their best, they're a real one hell of a challenge. Physically, tactically, I just feel like so much pace in their team. That they're a real handful as a team. They're at Brighton's best. And like you said, defensively, they are shorter than what they've had in years gone by, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think so, and that's kind of the way that they've been under Fabian Hürzeler. When he's come into the side, there'll be some times where they've been excellent. I remember the game against Manchester City. There was a period where Manchester City were just really struggling in that second half. It was the same against Tottenham in the first half. They seem to have these halves in Premier League games where they play so well, and then the second half, they just seem a completely different side. And that's just where that frustration, I think inconsistency has shown. But listen, Danny Welbeck's a massive player for them. And when he's not playing, I do feel that Brighton are a different side. And maybe that was shown against Aston Villa during the week.
Well, they've got another carrot and blue today. So it's been Villa in midweek, lose 4-3, and now West Ham, who are in the bottom three, Adam.
Yeah, it's a massive opportunity for them because I think Brighton have really struggled to really go on a run this season. I know they got those back-to-back wins against Brentford and Nottingham Forest, but this is a real big game for them where, West Ham had a good final period of that game against Manchester United. But they got a good record against West Ham in the Premier League in general, but I know sometimes that doesn't really count for much. But they need to try and get back to winning ways straight away. If you want to be competing for Europe, Brighton can't really afford to go on this kind of run where you go through a little lull, and especially over this Christmas period when the games are coming thick and fast. But West Ham will be a difficult prospect. And Brighton's tendency over the seasons that I've seen them have really struggled with sides that defend deep against them. And Nuno does sometimes, as we found out last season with Nottingham Forest, that he does know how to play against Brighton with his teams.
Yeah, Brighton's record against West Ham in the Premier League, like you say, Adam, is very, very good. In 16 games, West Ham have only won once. And you've spoken about Danny Welbeck there. He also loves playing against West Ham. He's scored a career-best 6 goals against him. So he's going to be really, really key today, Adam.
He's been a key player, Katie, since he's come to the football club. And I think I think Brighton are getting the best of Danny Welbeck, if I'm being perfectly honest. I think where you've seen him maybe Arsenal and previous teams, he's just had those injuries which have just been very, very unlucky with him. But what you've seen with him is just his maturity within that final third, and with the young players that Brighton are trying to progress through at the same time. He just leads that line with quality, and he's clever with his movement that kind of helps players in and around him find those positions and find those goals. But this will be a big game for Brighton, because I do notice when they do go on a little bit of a bad run where the fans can feel a little bit edgy. But this will be a big game for them today. And Danny will certainly be back in the starting lineup again, and they'll be looking for him to lead the line.
FA Cup, Adam, because the Emirates FA Cup yesterday, more games today. What did you make of it? Any shocks that you'd like to tell us about?
Yeah, I mean, yesterday Weston-super-Mare were the story of the FA Cup. It's a remarkable story what's going on down there. Scott Rogers is kind of coming in as caretaker manager. Scott Bartlett's done such a good job. He's now moved on to Eastleigh. They've had a new stadium approved. But this is what the FA Cup is all about. I mean, for that, and it would be very versus Macclesfield today, where you're playing teams that are in the same division as you. What an opportunity that you've got to pull out one of the big guns in the FA Cup. And, when you think about other results, off the top of my head, Swindon was another one, a brilliant result against Bolton, who are in the league above. Fleetwood had a good result on penalties against Jack Wilshere's Luton. So, again, you get those kind of underdog teams coming back into the third round, which we all love.
Yeah, so Adam, thank you so much for your time and looking ahead to that game, Brighton against West Ham. Good to have you on the programme, and also speaking about the FA Cup as well. Just a reminder for you, 2:30, Boreham Wood against Newport County. James Fielden and Darren Ambrose will be guiding you through the commentary on talkSPORT 2, and talkSPORT will provide you updates across all the other games in the FA Cup with Game Day Live. Right, it's time to go over to the cricket, because it's day 4 of the second Ashes Test in Brisbane, and John Norman, England are bowled out.
Yeah, all smiles from the Australians. Michael Neser accepting the applause and hugs from teammates after he picked up a 5 for his second in just 3 Test matches. He hasn't played a Test match for Australia for 3 years. He is seen as a pink ball specialist. There was a lot of talk about him coming in ahead of Nathan Lyon. Well, it's paid off for Australia. 5 for 42. He bowled 16 overs that went under 2.5 and over, and he picked up the big wickets to fall today. Will Jacks caught brilliantly by Steve Smith. at first slip. Ben Stokes, that was the moment that, well, we kind of knew anyway, to be honest, but when he was caught behind for 50, walked off with the ashes done and dusted, really. The final wicket to fall, then Brighton caught at first slip as well. So England have battled today. You know, they battled out that first session without losing a wicket. They got themselves into a position where they were almost daring to dream if they could get to that second new ball with both Jackson and Stokes at the crease. Then maybe, just maybe, they have a chance, but it wasn't to be. And now, in a few moments' time, Travis Head and Jake Weatherald will come out. The target is 65. They might look to wrap this up before the dinner break or the tea break. I'm still getting confused which is which. We don't play enough of this game in England. But essentially, England are done, aren't they? Unless they bowl Australia out for 64 or less, Australia going to go 2-0 up with 3 to play. So here we are. England have been bowled out for 241, and Australia getting themselves ready to bat.
Yeah, John, we're clutching at straws, aren't we? But thank you so much, John Norman. We'll be back with him very shortly throughout the programme. This is Weekend Sports Breakfast with me, Katie Shanahan, alongside the wonderful Tony Cascarino on talkSPORT this morning. Coming up, we're going to be getting more reaction after that Mo Salah explosive interview.
So we are almost ready to go. Ian Dancer here in the commentary box. It is all about whether Dean Saunders can retain the talkSPORT World Championship. To win the leg. She's got it! Gets it! Double nine! He refuses the handshake.
A very good morning. You're listening to Weekend Sports Breakfast with me, Katie Shanahan, alongside Chelsea and Celtic striker Tony Cascarino. We're just watching the cricket at the moment. Australia currently batting at the moment, 4 for no wicket after England were bowled out. The target is 65 for Australia, so you feel as though they're going to get that done quite quickly. But lots of the headlines are regarding Mo Salah after this really explosive interview following their 3-3 draw with Liverpool and Leeds last night. Let's speak to Alex Crook, talkSPORT chief football reporter here. Salah says, Crookie, that he feels the club has thrown him under the bus and believes that promises have been broken and feels he very much sees his immediate future elsewhere. What do you make of all of this?
Yeah, good morning. Well, I'm fascinated to get Cass's views on this as a Liverpool supporter, because I think it's one that probably will divide opinion amongst the fan base. Speaking to people close to the football club, the word that came out more than most last night was sad. A sad way to potentially tarnish his legacy, a sad way to maybe exit the football club, because, of course, one of the things he said in this bombshell interview was the game against Brighton could be his last at Anfield. He's invited the family to come along just in case that is the case. We know there's interest from Saudi Arabia. I expected him to leave at the end of the season and make that big money move to the Middle East. But it does feel to me like this is possibly Mo Salah trying to accelerate his departure. I think the line that sticks in my throat is that he's earned the right to play every game because of what he's done in the past. That's not how football works. And if you look at Mo Salah's form, not just this season, but the second half of last season when the goals really dried up, I don't think he does warrant a place in this starting 11. But it's going to be fascinating to see how the owners react to this power play that Salah has chucked out there. And really, he's backed up what Jamie Carragher said a few weeks ago. The only time we hear from Mo Salah is when he's got something to get off his chest or he's trying to get himself a new contract. I think the Liverpool owners have to come out now and back the manager and allow him to stand by his decision.
Yeah, look, he's thrown the club under the bus for me. It's not the other way round. And I've never heard of broken promises. But I mean, that's the first question to me for Mo. What promises is the club or the club broken? Because I can't think of one. I need to know, because you're saying they've broken promises. What promises? You've played every game before you got dropped.
Yeah, he's played every game. Obviously, they broke their own policy, really, by giving a player in the twilight of his career such a big money contract in order to keep him at the club. And obviously, you go back to that announcement, he was sat on a throne in the middle of the Anfield pitch. So he has literally been treated like a king. But you're only as good as your last performance, and his last performances haven't been good enough. He's not the only one, by the way. Maybe he's looking at the likes of Kanate and Cody Gakpo and thinking, well, how come they're keeping their place in the team? But the issue you've always had with Mo Salah is his work rate off the ball. When he's scoring goals, he's making assists. The fact he doesn't really like to track back isn't a problem. But when you're in a team that is struggling to pick up points and your own output has dropped, I think that gives the manager a real headache. And I don't think anybody, even the staunchest of Mo Salah fan, could really complain that he's been left out for the past 2 games.
Yeah.
Cookie, we've had this text coming in here from Daniel Dean saying Mo Salah this season so far doesn't track back, doesn't take players on, doesn't score, doesn't defend, doesn't run. What the hell are we meant to do? Just keep playing a player that's playing rubbish? He's not bigger than the club. It's disgraceful what he's done.
I think that's the key line there. No player is bigger than the football club. And as I say, I think this is now a power struggle between Mo Salah and the manager, and that is why what the Liverpool hierarchy do next is going to be really interesting. What I don't expect Arne Slot to do is react to these comments and say, do you know what, Mo, you're right, because you scored all those goals last season, I'm going to put you straight back in the team in the Champions League against Inter Milan in midweek. If anything, I think it will strengthen Arne Slot's resolve that at the moment Mo Salah shouldn't be anywhere near the starting 11. It will be interesting to see if he's even on the bench when that big Champions League game comes around. As I say, I think this is quite a sad way for Mo Salah to seemingly try and force an exit from the football club that he served with such distinction to this point.
Yeah, Cookie, I mean, Arne Slot said on Mo Salah, we have to accept the situation we are in, and I base my decisions on that. 3 games Mo Salah's now been on the bench, and he's off to AFCON very shortly. So let's see what happens when he gets back. Cookie, thanks so much for coming on the programme this morning. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
Cheers, Cookie.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you. Right, coming up next, we're going to be getting the latest odds, and we'll also be looking ahead to the 4:30 kickoff between Fulham and Crystal Palace.
Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Prospero año y felicidad.
A very good morning. You're listening to Weekend Sports Breakfast with me, Katie Shanahan, alongside former Millwall and Marseille striker Tony Cascarino. Why are we playing the brilliant Feliz Navidad? Because we've been playing Christmas songs all morning, as we want to know your Christmas traditions. Plenty of text on this coming in, 81089. That's exactly what Craig in Windsor has done. Good morning, Katie. I have a tradition where I want to watch the same 4 Christmas movies every year in the run-up to Christmas. He's gone with, this is a very controversial talking about Christmas films, he's gone with the Muppet Christmas Carol, Scrooge, Elf and Home Alone. I think that's a strong...
Home Alone's
the Holiday has got to be one of my favourites, and Love Actually. So plenty. I mean, we're not going to dive into the Christmas films because we'll be here all morning. But we've also had another text here on Christmas traditions. Boxing, this is from Jill. Good morning, Jill. She says, this is my Christmas tradition, Boxing Day and a New Year's Day dip in the North Sea. A really good, fun way to wake up. And we have Tom Clayton still in the studio here because you've got a few weird and wonderful Christmas traditions.
Yeah, there's a few in my family. Can I just say as well, there's a wonderful trend going around online at the moment saying that this song sounds like a Scouse person saying, "Police, not my dad." So there you are. Yes, so in our family, you found it really weird when I said sometimes we have a Christmas goose rather than turkey.
Only because I've never had goose for Christmas. I've stuck with a turkey.
It's very Dickensian, I know. I mean, I don't come from I know I'm from Yorkshire, but you know, we have running water and electricity. So,
and you also have mushy peas for Christmas, which I don't agree with.
I want to say that is my sister-in-law's family.
Oh, here we go. You're backing out
adoptive.
Now. Here we go.
Look, but I do take part in it. Look, sometimes there's not much better than a set of mushy peas. I mean, if it was up to me, sometimes I'd have fish and chips on Christmas Day because, you know, I'm from that part of the world. But, yeah, mushy peas, sometimes it can be a bit like, why are they there?
Well, fish and chips on Christmas Day, I will never be able to agree with. Because,
that person who's taking a dip in the North Sea, maybe.
Yeah. No, it's got to be a roast for Christmas with a big turkey stuffing, Yorkshire's, pigs in blankets, all of the above. Tom, thank you very much for sticking with us. Right, let's check in now on the odds with Coral.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT. Brought to you by Coral, the home of the free-to-play Golden Rewards Shaker. 18 plus max 1 reward per player per selected Shaker day. 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Restrictions and T's and C's apply. Gambleaware.org.
And we can say a very good morning to John Hill. We're currently looking over at the cricket because Australia are currently 29 for no wickets with a target of 65 after England were bowled out for 241. So, John, what are the odds for the Ashes now? England are, really up against it.
Yeah, good morning, Katie. Good morning, Cass.
Hi,
very
John.
much up against it. It's been just a desperate series for England, hasn't it, really? From day one in Perth, beaten in 2 days there. We thought they could improve for this day-nighter at the Gabba, but as things stand, it looks like they are going to be 2-0 down. Australia 1-100 to complete victory from here. They're going to do that. And I just don't know where England go from here, Katie and Cass. I really don't. You know, they've got Cummins coming back, Australia. They've got Hazelwood possibly coming back, Nathan Lyon coming back. You know, there's over 1,000 Test match wickets there in those 3 players. So they're very much up against it. And, I think possibly heads could roll after this series with probably Brendan McCullum, the coach, could he go? Rob Key, the director of cricket, and they'll be having a long review and some big decisions will have to be made at the end of the series.
End of Bazball?
It could well be the end of Bazball. They've not been a fan of Bazball, have they, Brendan McCullum and Ben Stokes themselves? But we've loved it in the media and, the past players talking about it. But the thing is, Cass, these Ashes series only come around every 4 years in Australia, don't they? So it's effectively a 4-year cycle. They were hammered 4 years ago and, there were excuses for that. It was the COVID year and, no crowds, etc., and the preparation. But this time around, no excuses, really. England, I don't think they've been prepared, really. They've turned down preparation, warm-up matches going into it. They thought that, their method was good enough, but they've looked undercut for me, Cass. They really have. And you can't go 2-0 down in Australia and expect to come back, can you?
No. John, title odds, because obviously the upset at the weekend, Aston Villa, I did talk about them a few weeks back about the possibility of Champions League football, and they've beaten the Arsenal. So how's that affected the Premier League title?
Yeah, well, obviously Arsenal were as short as 1-5 at one stage of the season. They're now 4-6, Cass. So this is very much title race on. Aston Villa, they've proven that they're in this race. We may have underestimated them here, Cass. We think Villa are 25-1 outsiders still, despite being 3 points off top place, despite beating Arsenal yesterday. But Manchester City, they'll be over the moon, won't they, with that result? That puts them even closer to the Gunners. They're 8-5, second favourites. Chelsea, again, stuttered yesterday. They've just hit a bad patch at the wrong time, Chelsea, because if they could have just kept up their decent run, they'd be well in the race. They're 28-1 are the Blues. But do you think we've underestimated Villa, Cass, at 25-1?
Yeah, I said it a few weeks ago. And did I think they'd win the title? No. I feel like they're a really good side. If you look at 2025 and at the amount of points they've picked up, how far they went in the Champions League, how far they went in the Cup, semi-final in the Cup, they're a side to be reckoned with in 2025.
Lots to look forward to anyway. This is a title race on, Katie.
Yeah, well, it certainly is. As an Arsenal fan, I wasn't very pleased with the result yesterday, but I thought Aston Villa, they were knocking on the door late on, and Emi Buendia, 95th minute winner. Fair play. Tell us about Brighton against West Ham and Fulham against Crystal Palace. Who are the favourites for these games?
Yeah, Brighton 4-7 odds on favourites to prevail against West Ham. I thought West Ham were much better against Manchester United Monday night. It was a good point, wasn't it, at Old Trafford? So their away records has been abysmal as the Hammers, but hopefully for their sake they'll take some encouragement from that performance. They're 9-2 to come away from the South Coast today with the victory. The draw 100-30, and in the game at 4:30, Fulham versus Palace. Fulham are marginal favourites at 8-5. Palace 7-4. The draw 11-5. That was a crazy game midweek against City, wasn't it? Yeah. What was it? 5-1 down. They came back to 5-4. It was an incredible second half for Fulham. And I think the problem for Palace this season is going to be games. They're coming thick and fast for them. They've had obviously Europa Conference League games. I think they played 3 times in the last 9 days at Crystal Palace. So I just wonder, will that catch up with the Eagles? They're 7-4, as I say, to come away from West London with a victory today. So a very difficult one to call at 4:30, but Brighton firm favourites at 4-7 to prevail at 2:00.
John, thank you ever so much for your time and your insight. Good to have you on the programme this morning, John Hill there. That was a look at the latest odds with Coral 18+. BeGambleAware.org. Please gamble responsibly.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT. Brought to you by Coral, the home of a free-to-play Golden Rewards Shaker. 18+ max 1 reward per player per selected Shaker day. 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Restrictions and T's and C's apply. GambleAware.org.
OK, so the 4:30 game today in the Premier League is a London derby. Fulham in 15th take on 5th place Crystal Palace. We'll have updates on the game on Game Day Live throughout the afternoon. And to look ahead of the game, we're delighted to be joined by Fulham's all-time top goal scorer, Gordon Davies. A very good morning, Gordon.
Hi, Gordon.
Good morning, Katie. Good morning, Cass.
Gordon, going back to last year, I saw Fulham take on Palace twice at the Cottage, and Fulham came off second best in both occasions, and they've had a little bit of a hoodoo, haven't they, Palace, over Fulham in recent seasons?
Yeah, I don't know whether it's the way, the formation that Palace play. They've sort of had, if you use that word, hoodoo over us for a long time. Because I don't think we've beaten them at the Cottage since 2005. But they had some very, very good players who they've lost to, if I say, better teams. But they've always caused us problems at the Cottage. Yet again, we've gone to Selhurst Park and we've beaten them across there. I don't think there's too much difference within both the setup of the teams, but I honestly believe that the formation that they play at present has been causing us a major problem.
And what have you made of Fulham lately? I mean, Josh King's a player that I really like. Who I don't think goals is going to be the thing he needs to add to his game. But it feels like Marco Silva's juggling a little bit with the forward line, with Kevin coming in and Jimenez and having Munez injured, and it just feels like Fulham are slightly adjusting to what the best Fulham 11 is.
Yeah, we struggle up front at present with Munez. I think he's going to be out probably until February. So Raul Jimenez, I like him as a striker, but I think, and I've said this in years gone by about Mitrovic, he was living on scraps for a time being. If you go back to the Sunderland game a few weeks ago, we were much the better team, but Raul worked his socks off. He was absolutely shattered with 20 minutes to go, but we didn't have anybody to replace him.
No.
But the one chance that he gets in the game, he puts away. And I honestly feel that Marco's got some wide players now that can cause problems and get at defenders. but we need to get the ball, and this is just my opinion, we need to get the ball in that danger area to give the centre forward or the 2 or 3 players that are in there a chance to go for something. Because as you would know, being a centre forward, if you're not getting the service, you're not getting the chances.
No.
And it's been a bit like that with us for a period of time. We want to score the perfect goal. We want to be Man City. But sometimes you just need to put the ball into that area enough times. And even if you're playing against international centre-halves, they're going to make mistakes. But if we put the ball in there now with some of the wide players that we've got, Jimenez will get on the end of it. But I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that he doesn't get an injury, because when we've played without a recognised centre-forward, we've lost heavily in both games.
Gordon, do you think Fulham will start with Samuel Chukwueze? He's on loan from AC Milan, scored 2 against Man City after coming on as a sub, as Fulham came back from 5-1 down to lose 5-4. Do you think they'll start with him today?
I would like to see him start. I interviewed him in hospitality a few weeks back, and he's a lovely kid, a very outgoing personality, and all he was saying, he just wants minutes on the pitch. And he's got the ability to score goals and create, as Kevin has. And I don't know how what Marco Silva says to the players when they start the game. But if they start the game, they don't give the ball away. They don't attack teams. We keep the ball. And then when these wide players come on with 20 minutes to go, he must just say, get in the box, take chances, get crosses in, get shots on target, because anybody who comes on as sub for us at the moment looks a completely different player from when they start the game. So I'm hoping that perhaps Kevin and Chukwueze start today, and we take the game to Palace, because we are at home at the end of the day. And I think all the supporters want to see us attacking teams as we did at Tottenham. Yes, we had a bit of luck early, but when you go 2-0 up in the first 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes of a game, it lifts the whole crowd, and they're not just waiting for a 40-pass attack to come to nothing at the end of the day.
Gordon, are you doing hospitality in that beautiful new stand overlooking the Thames?
Yes, it's now an absolutely fantastic area to talk to people, to wander around. It is a 5-star hotel from top to bottom. And if people haven't been there yet, then just go there on a Wednesday. Go up to one of the restaurants and you'll see something that's going to take the club forward. And it's going to be a fantastic eating spot for Londoners for the future years to come.
Yeah, I've been there a couple of times. It's like being on a yacht, because all you can see is water. It's very, very nice. Gordon Davies, thank you so much for coming on the show this morning. Fulham's all-time goal scorer, Gordon Davies there. Really good to get his insights. Right, updates from 4:30 will be available for you on Game Day Live. All the goals as they go in from 1 p.m, as well as updates on today's crucial Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Right, it's time to get across to John Norman, who's watching the second Ashes test. How are Australia going with the bat, John?
Yeah, we've reached the dinner break. Lovely to hear Gordon Davies there, by the way. I used to watch him play for Fulham when, I don't know about hospitality, didn't even have a roof on the Hammersmith end or the Putney end. So there you go. But an absolute legend still at the club. Yeah, look, less said about the cricket, the better, really. Nothing to see here, guys. Move along. 33 without loss, Australia. They need 32 runs to win. They're going to have a 20-minute break and then come back for the final denouement of what has been an absolute wretched test match for England, despite Will Jackson, Ben Stokes batting out that first session this morning. So yeah, back to the football, guys. Back to the football.
Tell us what you really think, John. Yeah, oh, amazing. Right, John Norman there. Right, this is Weekend Sports Breakfast with me, Katie Shanahan, alongside Tony Cascarino on talkSPORT this morning. Up next, we're going to be chatting about England's performance in the second Ashes test with former England bowler Monty Panason coming next. Very good morning. You're listening to Weekend Sports Breakfast with me, Katie Shanahan, alongside the former Chelsea and Villa striker, Tony Cascarino. Now it's time for this. Yes, here we go. You know exactly what that means when you hear this song play. talkSPORT has teamed up with the Pitch Experiences to bring you an all-out VIP experience at the PDC World Darts Championship at Alexandra Palace on the 23rd of December. It gets underway very shortly next week. You and three mates could be living at large with platinum seats, fine dining and complimentary bar and exclusive access to the 501 lounge with Russ the Voice Bray. Then it's straight to your prime table for the best view in the house as the darts drama unfolds. Get ready for an unforgettable Ali Pally Christmas, the best way to spend Christmas really. For your chance to win, text darts to 83338. Text costs £2 plus your standard network rate, or you can call the number 0343 421 7508. Lines close at 4 o'clock on the 18th of December. That's when you'll need to answer your phone if it rings. It's 18 plus and UK residents only. So for your chance to win, text darts to 83338. Now, this is a network promotion. Full T's and C's at talksport.com. I can't wait for darts. That's like one of my favourite. I feel as though Christmas is here when we know the darts is going on and you hear that song playing. But it is time now to look back on, well, a really disappointing second test for England. To discuss the game, who better to speak to than former England bowler Monty Panason. Monty, good morning.
Hi, Monty.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on the show.
Wow. Well,
so, yeah, where do we start, Monty? What did you make of this second test?
Yeah, look, I think Ben Stokes had, a couple of tactical errors. I think he could have declared on the first day and got a chance to bowl in that last session where, the ball kind of seams around swings as well. And I'm not sure if they should have let Joe Root and Jofra Archer continue with the sort of partnership that they had. That area was obviously, maybe could have been a bit better. And there was a drop catches as well. That really cost him, especially when Ben Duckett, dropped the Australian keeper off the first ball. That really kind of was a big opportunity missed by them. And then just the bowling generally, they've been short, they've been wayward. The Australian bowlers have been that sort of 7 to 5 meter length, just outside off stump. And England themselves, they keep playing the ball on the up. So all the Australian bowlers need to do is bowl it sort of, fourth, fifth stump line, and eventually they'll nick it. And that makes it a lot easier for the Australian bowlers in terms of their game plans and what they need to do. And they've been, I think Australia have just been smarter. They've outthought the England team much better. And England obviously, showed a bit of bravery today with Ben Stokes and, Will Jacks. That was a really good partnership. First time we've kind of seen been a bit of test match, batting the application. Possibly they should have shown at the start of the series. But at least, there's some fight in this team. And hopefully when they go to Adelaide, I think the pitch will suit their style of batting. And, they've got to just mentally keep themselves in a positive frame of mind.
Monty, do you think this could be the end of Bazball?
I don't think it's the end of Bazball. I think it's more the execution, they could possibly, bat half an hour, 45 minutes, gives themselves the opportunity to get used to the pace of the ball, the pitch conditions. And then, if you look at the scoring rate, even today at Brisbane, anything that was full at the stumps, they were scoring freely. And it was actually just outside off stump where they struggled, and they kept on, playing those high risk shots, especially yesterday in the last session, when all they had to do from the 20th to the 30th over was just bat out, again, half an hour, see the day out. And then today is best time to bat, they had wickets in hand, and who knows, it could have been a different story altogether. But they like play, they like, hitting the ball on the up, they like putting pressures back on the bowlers. And it works in England because the ball doesn't bounce as much, but in Australia it bounces a lot more, especially at Perth and Brisbane. And I think that strategy is just a very high risk strategy.
Yeah, Monty, you expect the papers to be pretty brutal on criticism. One piece talks about how the tourists lost 5 wickets for 38 runs after just 5 days of brainless English cricket. The Ashes tour looks already destined for the Hall of Shame. Is that a fair reflection?
Well, I think, the media's going to come hard, at this England team. But, what they've done is they've just haven't really thought about how to play on the bouncier surfaces like Perth and Brisbane. Where playing on the up is a very high-risk strategy that just doesn't work in Australia, possibly at Adelaide, where the ball probably won't bounce as much. So, they've got to obviously back their plan, the way they've, what they've brought them success, the way they played the attacking nature. They've tried to, change the way, Test cricket should be played. And they try to entertain, the fans and obviously, cricket worldwide. But I think in Australia, I think they just kind of got that strategy wrong. And possibly at Adelaide, Brent Stokes and Will Jacks have shown that they can bat, and I'm sure the top order can do it. Joe Root's, showed he can do it. I think the bigger concern is probably Harry Brook. He's a guy where everyone will thought, will set the, world alight in Australia, but he's kind of just not giving himself that time. And to be honest, there's been 20 wickets have fallen between partnerships of 0 to 9. That's been the biggest problem with this England team, that they just don't give themselves a chance. And, just all they need to do is just be a little bit patient, be a little bit more patient, show that at Adelaide, and hopefully, build a bit of partnership, bat a bit of time, and then get, like they say, earn yourself the right to start playing aggressive shots. Don't do it straight away, because I think you're just playing into the hands of the Australian bowlers.
Yep, well said. Monty, thanks so much for coming on the show this morning. Great to get the thoughts of former England bowler Monty Panason there on what has, not been a very good day for England. The current score, Australia are 33 for no wicket after England were all bowled out for 241. So Australia now require 32 runs to win with 10 wickets remaining. So it's just a matter of time. Right, thank you very much this morning.
Thank you, Casey.
Great to have. Really enjoyed this morning. That is it from us today. Don't forget, we're bringing the draw for the third round of the FA Cup tomorrow afternoon on talkSPORT. Up next, though, it's the Sunday edition with Sean Custis and Henry Winter. You've been listening to Weekend Sports Breakfast with me, Katie Shanahan, alongside Tony Cascarino on talkSPORT. Have a great day.